R.I.P. hoodie season. It was fun while it lasted. Welcome winter coat season. Not a fan. Not a fan. Not a fan.
Back in the 50s tomorrow.
Yeah,
back in the
for
50s.
like 2 seconds, and it sucks. It sucks. Good morning, Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's
It's kind of fun. You never know, what's going to happen when you wake up. It's going to be like, oh.
No, it's not fun.
Snow.
There's nothing fun about it.
And then, in a couple days, we'll probably be 70 degrees again.
Yeah, I haven't looked at Thanksgiving yet.
Is this snow or leaves?
This is
or
snow.
Combination.
Yeah, I assure you, this is definitely snow. But anyway, hi. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Stan's here. You know him. He's the chief grand poobah here at PressBox, and he joins us on Fridays. Stan the Fan Charles in the studio with us. A fired up Stan the Fan today. I'm not sure what it is, because Stan's normally a night owl, and Stan's normally a little bit on the tired spectrum.
I got a good night's sleep.
Got a good
night.
night's sleep?
Yeah.
You rest easy after a Steelers loss? Is that what it was?
That was it. I was with that game all the way through it.
It was
a throwback game.
It was a bad football game that was somehow wildly entertaining.
Yes, it was.
Because remember,
anytime you get snow,
the NFL sucks. Remember, because that guy said so a couple weeks ago. Like, this is bad. Last night, the football was bad, and yet it was still ungodly entertaining. Just could not have been more entertained by the football game last night. And obviously, it not particularly good for the Ravens. Not just because it gives them the opportunity to get a game back with still having a game against the Steelers in hand. But even if they had finished in a tie with the Steelers for the division, they needed the Steelers to lose at least one more division game because the Ravens had lost to the Browns. So the fact that the Steelers now lose to the Browns, I don't know what's going on. You guys doing another show over there?
Try to be respectful.
Respectful?
Yeah.
Since when did you start doing that? When did that start for you?
I mean, I thought, probably about 20 years ago.
Is that what it was? Since the
if not then today.
Since the Ravens lost to the Browns, they needed the Steelers to take a division loss in case they end up tied. So it is particularly helpful. And the Steelers still have 4 more division games to be played in this process. Now, all that being said, the Ravens have to hold up their end of the bargain. They've got to go out to L.A. and beat the Chargers on Monday, or else this, really isn't all that helpful at all. They've got to get the job done there. Coming up on the program today, it's like Offensive Lineman Day here on GCR.
That was what I said to myself. I said, What is this, offensive lineman?
It's O-Lineman Day. Yeah. Former Raven Matt Skura announced his retirement from the NFL this week. We will catch up with him to talk about that decision. Of course, Matt was center for the Ravens for a few years and went on to play in a few other spots, Miami, the Giants, the Rams, We'll talk to him about his decision to retire and whether or not he called back to say, "You guys sure? You guys, you certain?" Because maybe not everybody jumps off sides on every play. Maybe might be able to help out a little bit. Wally Williams, or what's left of Wally Williams, after he lost all that weight a couple years ago. Wally's going to join us.
Is he planning a comeback?
He's definitely could not play at this weight. There's no, unless he put it all back on and I haven't noticed because I haven't seen him in a couple of months. But there's no way he could play at the weight that I saw him at most recently. Wally Williams, now with the Ed Block Courage Awards, he's going to tell us all about an event they have coming up with Zay Flowers, and we'll talk some Ravens with him as well. It's also Friday, so our buddy Bo Smolka, PressBox Ravens beat writer, will check in with us and more here on a Friday edition of the program. Today's show brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Griffin.
$7 in free slot play at Live Casino Hotel Maryland this season for every touchdown that is scored during Baltimore or Washington by the Baltimore Washington football teams during their home games this season. Live Rewards members get $7 in free slot play who have their Live Rewards card inserted into the slot machine. Any slot machine on the floor and be actively playing have to have your Live Rewards card in there correctly. But once those touchdowns score during home games, $7 in free slot play. Add Arnold Mills must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Are the Commanders even playing this week?
They are. They are hosting the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, that's right.
Used to be a rivalry game of some sort. Now,
now they're favored by 10 points.
It's just been hammer and nail like it's been the last few years. Yeah. Just the way that's. It is really. Although I bet if I was a Washington fan, I wouldn't feel comfortable at all, just because of how that's gone over the years. I would have no. It's sort of like us feeling comfortable against Steelers teams that we don't think are quite as good as the Ravens. and yet. Look, the thing about last night too is it's a reminder. Like, this is how it goes. Does this all of the stuff that we've done, all of the Mike Tomlin is such a better coach than John Harbaugh, all of that shtick, is that negated? Is it maybe that we overreact a little bit to specific results and strange situations? Does Mike Tomlin stink now as a coach because he turned around and lost to the Cleveland Browns on the road on a Thursday night? And my gut is, no, he doesn't. My gut is, that's the NFL. And this thing where we just think inherently that you have to win every game because otherwise you stink, there's no one that would live up to that standard. I swear to God, you watched last night, the Steelers fans were like, Tomlin's got to go. I'm like, thank God it's not just us. Thank God there's somewhere else. Everyone here thinks Mike Tomlin's the greatest coach that ever lived.
So what fan bases aren't trying to fire their coach on a daily basis?
Kansas City and Detroit.
Do you think Minnesota's happy with Kevin O'Connell?
At the moment.
Yeah.
At the moment.
The Chargers are probably
yeah, you know what? That's true. First-year head coaches that are
winning.
Doing well.
That are doing well, right. Yes, exactly
He's
right.
Safe.
Yeah,
How well is he doing? How well is Jim Harbaugh doing? What's their record?
7-3?
They're
6-5, aren't they?
No. Hang on a second. This isn't a good sign that we don't know this.
This is week 12.
Not a great.
So they're better than
but
6-3.
they had I think they had their bye. Yeah, they had their bye. They're 7-3. Yeah, they're
7-3. They're playing well.
They're playing really well. They've won 4 straight. Now, they've only beaten one team with a winning record this season. That was Denver early on in the year. And they did try to charger it up last week against the Bengals in the second half, but they ended up figuring that out in the end, and they got the voodoo of Bengals kicker not being able to make a kick in the final couple of minutes of the game. And, that doesn't make you feel great going into Monday night because I don't know if you heard. That could be a problem here. But all those things being said, like this is the way it goes. Whenever a team loses a game, it's immediately fire the coach. I don't think Mike Tomlin's a bad coach because he lost a game on a Thursday night in the snow. I mean, there's a lot of things that I think are limited about the Steelers that I thought were limited against the Ravens last week. I didn't come away from it saying, my God, the Steelers are so much better than I thought they were. The Steelers were essentially exactly what I thought they were, and a team that shot itself.
You sound like Dennis Green.
Dennis Green. We let him off the hook, and the Ravens did. They let him off the hook. A team that's willing to conspire and make a million mistakes during a football game can lose to a Steelers team. A Steelers team that is required to play a top-notch level of football in order to win a game, I don't think they have that in them. Russell Wilson can throw the ball as long as it's like 30 yards downfield. If it requires anything other than that, anywhere between 30 yards downfield and in the flat, it's like he's not capable of doing it.
Well, they were also running into, cold weather QB Jameis Winston as well.
Right,
like
and historically, noted cold weather quarterback Jameis Winston. I don't know how to explain it with Russell Wilson. It's bizarre to watch. And I don't know if it's that the game plan is take away the middle of the field. Like, we don't think he can do it, so don't let him do it. I don't know if that's the way that they're coaching things in Pittsburgh, but he doesn't do it. There's no middle of the field. It is all or nothing. Like, we are throwing it, dumping it to Najee Harris, or we are throwing it as far downfield as we can and thinking that George Pickens is going to get a call. And in between, by the way, it's why even when they got the ball back with the 30 seconds left or whatever, I'm like, well, he can still.
I wasn't. I thought they could
still
easily pull that out.
He could still toss the ball downfield and see what happens.
But those of us that knew the math and knew that we weren't.
Oh yeah, you were going to get the cover no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were good. Yeah. You were sleeping well. Yeah, I'm okay with that because I got a Steelers loss and I got a good game from Nick Chubb, which I needed because I had to start him in basically every league this week because of all of the buys.
The only guy that had a good game.
So my house, I've got the hub of my cable is down this side of the house, and my den is all the way down this side of the house. And this is not a mansion,
in
other words, it's not
I've been there.
It's not a mansion.
Well,
I mean, size-wise.
Right.
How is your Amazon Prime? Do you have trouble with it at all?
I've never had any problem.
Really?
With Prime. Not at all. Yeah.
It must be the TV in the den.
I got to tell you, it's my favorite streaming because when I watch Sunday games because I don't have cable anymore.
Right.
I watch on Paramount Plus. I almost have to turn Twitter off because
you're like a minute behind.
I'm like legitimately 2 plays behind the TV broadcast.
Really?
On Paramount Plus. It's infuriating. I mean, infuriating to the point where the number of times that I have seen interception before I actually saw the interception. Look, it's bad on the Masson app too.
Yeah.
Like I definitely see home runs on Twitter before I actually see a home run. It requires me. It's been good this season because I have tried to tweet less during games so that I can avoid.
Are they still playing baseball in Paramount?
Yeah, right now they're currently on the Masson.
What's it, like August 1st?
It's terrible. It's terrible news. The Orioles are struggling, but I still think they can get it going again.
How's Rutschman playing?
Yeah, I think the offense could turn around. Just a little bit of a dip. Just a slump right now for Adley Rutschman, but I got a good feeling about how things are going to play out.
How's Bradish pitching?
Well, yeah. The at least when it's on Prime, not only does the stream look good for me, but I'm watching the same thing everybody else is.
I have a terrible time in my den, and it's interesting. Last night I finally.
This guy over here, he's got a den, and he's like, I don't have a mansion.
Yeah.
He's got my lair.
It was late in the game, and I said, let me go back to my office. See, I have a den.
He's got a den, an office. Yeah, okay.
The office is like the third bedroom.
Fine. I have an infinity pool, but that doesn't make it a mansion. Yes, we have 3 different indoor gym facilities, but it's not a mansion.
But I went into my office, and it was working fine. So it must be that all the way down this end, my house is so big.
Not a mansion. Whatever you do today, don't go on the internet and say Stan the Fan lives in a mansion, because it's definitely not that. I have to take my shoes. I
am the Grand Poobah.
That is true. You are the chief Grand Poobah. Don't sell yourself short. I have to take my shoes off. I apologize to everyone. I'm playing hurt today. I need something.
Yeah, right.
I'm playing hurt today. I sprained my toe last night just because I really could. Only because I'm an old man. I mean, this was really an old man thing that occurred last night.
And just how old are you? 37?
I'm 41.
41.
41. I thought I just stubbed my toe.
It does go downhill after 41.
It's over. That's
40 is okay, but 41 is.
40 is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to my son last night was struggling to sleep, so I went upstairs to give him a hug, and of course the lights were all off, and on the way out I managed to stub my toe, which I said, that sucks, but
And
then
did he laugh at you?
Oh, he was actually half out at that point. I don't think he realized what was going on.
But don't be upset.
It's
the Steelers are losing.
It's the thing where I look down and I see that the toenail is coming off, and you're like, oh, that's not good. That's not good. But you can't just I don't want to be gross about it. I don't think anybody wants to deal with that today. And then you see all of the colors.
No, God, we
yeah,
do.
Right?
Don't you, Griffin?
Don't
you want to deal with it?
Yeah, I guess so.
I could. I think I need something to elevate it.
So wait a minute. A sprained toe and the toenail is off?
It's like half off. It's gross. It's gross. Lots of pressure build up underneath.
You need a foot doctor.
I could use a podiatrist, I think. I've
got one for you. Do you know the new guy at Channel 45, AJ Gersh?
I know of him.
His dad is my foot doctor.
Well,
Stephen Gersh.
I could use a visit with Dr. Gersh because it's
Gersh. He's very good.
I'm in a lot of pain today. A lot of pain. I need that ibuprofen bottle that's sitting in front of you because today is a bad day. But you're welcome. This is sort of like the Jordan flu game for me today.
You think so?
I think that a lot of people are going to be saying that.
This is like Willis Reed.
Yeah.
Gutting it out.
Gutting
it out in the NBA championship.
Or like who was it? Was it Ray Allen or Paul Pierce, right? That came back in a wheelchair because he had to poop. Had to go to the bathroom and came back in a wheelchair. Yeah, right. Oh no, it was just fine. It was completely fine.
That's like the John Lowenstein thing.
That's true.
On the stretcher.
That's true. On the stretcher.
John
Everybody was really thought he was dead.
Yep.
And he jumps up.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
I don't have to poop, for the record. I'm fine in that department. I just want everybody to know, from a
How are your hands?
standpoint.
Are they big?
Little
Marco, little Marco.
little Marco. I think my hands are fine. It's just the toe. The toe is the issue. So I'm here for you today. I am gutting this thing out. I don't know what the next plan. It might have to be this might be a Ronnie Lott situation. The toe just might have to go. I don't know. I have no idea how this is going to play out. My wife is like trying to give me advice about it. She's like, "Don't take the nail off. It'll just come off." I'm like, "What? What do you mean it'll just come off?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Yeah, it will in like a couple of days." I said, "That sounds awful."
You just have to put a Band-Aid
Where
on it.
was she when your son couldn't get to sleep?
Right. And actually, she was yelling at me because she was like, "He needs to be in bed." I'm like, "He is in bed." It's a whole thing. I think that the stress of that is what led to me spraining my toe.
You weren't focused, and
I think I could seek compensation from Mrs. Clark in court over what I'm going through because of the stress she put on me.
Can I ask
just
you?
trying to be a parent.
Can I ask you both a question? I looked up at this on this roof over here, the adjacent building. I thought those were Christmas decorations.
No, they're because that's a cross country course that they do on top of it. They do.
What do they have?
That's
The roof
set
is
up.
collapsing or
They
something?
set
It's
up,
got
no,
like
no,
a
they,
tarp
they,
on it.
They run races up top
Okay.
there. Yeah,
Okay.
it's we try to use. It's a very urban thought, right? Like we
Yeah.
got to use the space we have.
oh, there they go. Yeah.
For various things. Yeah, right. We want to bet on this one.
Bet
I like number 3. That's my guy.
I'm gonna don't sleep on number 4.
Oh yeah, you would go with
The
number-
outside lane.
You
always.
would go with
I've
number
got number
4.
5.
You would go with number 4.
I've got mustard.
We haven't even covered the big news yet this morning.
Which
The
is
Bowie Bay Sox are no more. The Bowie Bay Sox are gone.
what?
They're gone
What happened?
forever.
Seriously.
Instead, they'll be the Chesapeake Bay Sox. The Bowie Bay Sox have
Oh,
changed their
geez,
name.
Liz, you scared
They are now the Chesapeake Bay Sox.
I was
moving
always a fan of
forward.
alliterations.
I do enjoy
I like-
alliteration. I do enjoy that a bit.
They must be owned by CBS now.
I don't believe that they
way
are.
to go, CBS.
I don't
Chesapeake
believe, I get
Bay,
it.
CBS.
I get it, but I don't believe they are. I assume that it's a decision made because, like, Bowie is thought of as a DC suburb, but because they're an Orioles affiliate, they wanted to find something that reflected more of the relationship with the Orioles and Baltimore, and they were trying to figure out something they could do that would be in between those things. Remember famously the Bayhawks when they originally played in Baltimore, ultimately moved to D.C., the Bayhawks, but then they tried to come up with a way to appease everyone and get both markets, and their answer was to move to Annapolis and change their name to the Chesapeake
Bay
Bayhawks and try to reflect that we're for both markets without. And for what it's worth, they haven't started playing here yet, but like the Whip Snakes are trying to do something similar.
The
like,
Whip Snakes.
like we're both. Like we're for all of Maryland. We're not. So you're the Baltimore. No, yeah, but like and it. Very few entities have ever done this successfully over the years. It's this thing where there's two markets, you desperately want to try to get both of them, and you can't. It's tough because the markets are so different that it really is hard to come up with something that reflects both markets. I don't care. The Bay Sox can change their name. It's fine. I didn't care that they were the Bowie Bay Sox. I'm not going to care. They're the AA affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles. That's
Right.
what I care about.
That's what I care about.
That's the
yeah.
part that's interesting to me.
And they're still at the same stadium.
They're still going to play at Prince George's Stadium. They're still going to do everything about them is the exact same other than the name, and now they have a crab in their logo, which, sounds neat.
Cute.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to any of that, but that's the big story today. All right, Matt Skura joins us in just 1 second. Today's show, Stan, first of all, you did not do a show this week.
That is correct. That is correct, sir.
I assume you're probably going to be off next week for the holiday?
That is correct, sir.
So then
we'll come back
after that.
After that.
Back after the
Back
Thanksgiving
after-
break
back
for
after that.
for Stan the Fan,
Yeah.
and back live at facebook.com/PressBox Sports. I will also tell you that today's show is brought to you by the print issue at PressBox. We are starting to get down into the final couple of weeks for this print issue with Derek Queen and Juju Reese on the cover, the former St. Francis teammates who have partnered up again in College Park. They got a big one against Villanova on Sunday. You can read all about it, Brooks DuBose's cover story, in this print issue at PressBox, which is available for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find PressBox. and, of course, PressBoxOnline.com. All right. This man this week just made his retirement from the NFL official. He began his career here in Baltimore. Good dude. Always enjoyed my conversations with him over the years. We welcome back to the program Matt Skura, who's with us now here on GCR. Matt, it's Glenn and Stan here in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking the time, and congratulations on a great career in the NFL.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you guys having me on the show, and, yeah, glad to catch up as well.
Hey, Matt, first of all, before we go anywhere, though, like, did you at least call over one time and say, hey, you guys sure that you couldn't use any additional help? Because, you know, like, we've seen it. There's been some issues with some penalties this year. Like, you sure you don't maybe have one more run in you?
No, I'm completely content to be watching from the sidelines now and being able to support those guys. It's always fun to. I'm still close with Pat and Ronnie, and
sure.
Gotten close with Linderbaum as well. So all really close friends of mine.
If I could touch on a few things with you, Matt, the first one that I want to bring up is, we lost someone who was so special in this organization earlier this year, and I don't know that people understand the impact that he had, both just for the offensive line in general, but on a human level. Like talking to guys that weren't offensive linemen, can you tell me about what your relationship was like with Joe D and how impactful he was for the entire Ravens organization?
Yeah, him and I were really close. We bonded pretty quickly over us both being born in the Western PA, Pittsburgh area. He coached at Duke. I played at Duke, so we were able to share our common bond there. And really, he was just always someone who, outside of the field, became so close with me. We talked about family, things that were going on just in our lives, and he really kind of became like a pseudo grandfather to my kids and really the kids in the offensive line room and on the team. And he was just someone that everyone got along with. You could have a conversation with him no matter where you were in the lunchroom. So he was just someone who anyone could lean on.
A special human, and someone that obviously his loss has been felt strongly by this franchise throughout the course of the season. Matt, to go from undrafted to a decade in the NFL, does it make it easier when you have to make a decision like this to say, man, I was kind of on stolen time the entire time, or is it still just as painful and difficult to step away and say, hey, I think it's done. I think it's time for me to move on?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. It's hard because you still want to be, showing that you can play and be in the locker room with those guys. But at the same time, it gives you the perspective to reflect of like, man, like, look at how much I was able to do and able to accomplish. I was, I had this dream since I was a little kid, and, it turned out to be even better than I expected it would be. So I'm just honestly grateful and thankful to have started my career with the Ravens. I think of like even in my first 2 years, just the veterans that were on the team that provided such great leadership. I mean, guys who are up for the Hall of Fame now.
Right.
And it's truly a blessing to have started my career in Baltimore where like, it fit my personality exactly and what they appreciate about, guys working hard and preparation and being accountable and really taking care of the young guys. Like, I think it was just awesome. And yeah, always the decision is tough to step away from football. But, when I think back to all the relationships and all the people that I still am close with, it definitely puts it in perspective.
Matt, Stan Charles, congratulations on a really, really nice NFL career. You played at Duke. Did you play under Cutcliffe there?
Yes. Yep. He was there my whole time.
Could you talk a little bit about, because I lived in Durham in 2001 to 2004, 5, and football was really beyond a graveyard there. The job that Cutcliffe did at Duke.
Yeah. Yeah. He really first he had a vision. You know, he had so much experience in the SEC with Peyton and Eli Manning, and really saw what it took for teams to be great. And, you know, he was able to take that vision and have guys buy in. That was, I think, the biggest thing. He had everyone bought in from day one. And also he wanted to bring out the best in people too. He was such a great leader of men and really just poured into every single one of us, cared about us. And I think that's really what made our run there so special with him. And we really had a close bond with him, the guys on the team. Yeah, I mean, he truly set a foundation for where, you know, Duke football is now, and making it, you know, a well-known brand. And yeah, I still keep up with him to this day, and he's someone who's extremely important in my life.
Talking to you on a Friday morning after a Thursday night football game, now that your career's over, and I understand the trade-off that the NFLPA, the Players Association, made to get you guys more money, but could you talk a little bit about how difficult it is to play like Pittsburgh played the Ravens in a really fierce battle? It wasn't a great game, but it was a fierce battle on Sunday. To have to turn around on a Thursday, just is the human body really meant for that, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough turnaround there, because, you know, having back-to-back AFC North games, I mean, I'm trying to think back quickly, but, you know, I couldn't imagine having to do that from a Sunday to Sunday, let alone Sunday to a Thursday.
Yeah.
Just trying to get your body back in some way feeling decent. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure, you know, the payoff is really you get, you know, this kind of like mini bye week after a Thursday night game. But, I mean, it's tough just because it's the emotions of the game as well. You have a huge win by the Steelers, and so that can definitely be a distraction, because once Monday hits, you're now trying to turn the page and prepare for Cleveland and get your body right, get your mind right, and you have to travel as well. You know, being the home team on a Thursday night game is a huge advantage.
Yep.
And so it's definitely tough. Like, and it's later in the season too. You know, it's starting to get into that, you know, mid-November, and guys are starting to feel, you know, training camp and the early quarter of the season. So it's all those things that come into play.
He is Matt Skura. He just announced his retirement from the NFL. He's with us here on GCR. I believe I saw that Mike Tomlin's never won a road Thursday night game against an AFC North opponent. So,
really?
Yeah, and he's a damn good coach, right? Like, I think it speaks to what you guys are talking about. Matt, you brought him up a second ago. The impact that Marshall Yanda had on you, and what it would mean to you now as he is into the semifinalists for the Hall of Fame, to see him get that type of honor.
Yeah, that would be incredible. And, you know, it's funny. Him and I were together, him, his wife, and my wife, we all sat down for a while after Jody's funeral and just talked. And one of the things we brought up to him was the Hall of Fame and all those things. And, you know, he's so humble. He's, you know, not even focused on that. He's, you know, oh, no, there's no way that can happen. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, oh, well, it's kind of getting more real, right? You know, just keep getting slimmed down, keeps on making the list. Marshall was a huge factor in my career. You know, when I first got to the Ravens, he wasn't in OTAs, but everyone was like, hey, just wait until Marshall comes back, and the intensity just ramps up. And so, and it did. And in meetings, I just sat next to him, and I wouldn't even really talk to him. I would just see how focused and intentional he was with his notes and preparation. And then as I got to know him, just all the things about him being a dad and how he approaches taking care of his family, taking care of his body, the mentality he has every Sunday, also every day, you know, his routine, just watching him eat the same thing every day, his workouts, all those things, you know, it just really, as an impressionable young guy in the NFL, seeing someone who has had a lot of success, had all the Pro Bowls and the money and all these things, and to see how he showed up every single day to work was incredible to watch. And I'm glad that he was on our sideline and I got to play next to him because he's an incredible person.
When he goes into Canton, you'll be there, won't you?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I told him, Marshall, if I can get an invite, that'd be great. I mean, I might just show up myself. I might pay my own way to.
Hey, I had one more thing for you. It seems to be an awful lot of players your age now, and even younger, are stepping aside from pro football earlier than ever. Do you feel like you made it through this gauntlet in good shape, physically, head-wise, and all that stuff?
Yeah, I do. You know, of course, I had my big knee injury, but really, like, that knee feels great. Like, I don't have, you know, I think I'm very fortunate for Dr. Leanne Curl, who's the head orthopedic surgeon with the Ravens, who did my surgery. Like, I'm so thankful and fortunate that my knee turned out great and I didn't have any complications in the rehab process or even 3-4 years after playing. And yeah, I think, you know, guys do think about, you know, put their health and their future and they're thinking about, okay, can I still, like, I don't want to be, you know, not playing with my kids in the backyard because my knees hurt or my back's messed up or I've got a shoulder. Like, those things are real. Like, I'm, you know, even seeing it now, like, you know, oh man, my shoulder is really hurting for no reason, but, you know, it's probably from something that happened 5 years ago. And so I think that definitely is a factor into guys, you know, thinking about retiring a little bit early. And, you know, I think the opportunities off the field too, guys are seeing like, hey, I can transition and, you know, have a fulfilling life after football and, you know, kind of get the ball rolling maybe sooner than I thought.
I got to, you know, I have to add to this because you referenced the Western Pennsylvania thing. I just want to make sure there's no conflict moving forward, right? Like when the Ravens play the Steelers, there's no part of you that's still like, hey, I grew up with that. That's who, like you're a Raven moving forward, right?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
And you know, it is funny. Like my family, it's like all of their Steelers stuff that they put in the back of the closet has moved all the way up to the front.
Now that, yeah,
and
right.
yeah,
right.
and
Yeah.
but there's some people that I did fully convert from like Browns, Bengals, Steelers fans that are now full blown Ravens fans even after now that I'm done playing. So that's been pretty cool too. But yeah, no, I'm definitely a Ravens fan, and my whole family is, like my wife, my kids. So yeah, we're still definitely a fan.
And I thought that was the most touching part of what you put on Instagram this week, Matt. Like what this city has meant to you and this organization. And I feel like, you know, we always hear these stories, and I'm sure you would have no interest in disparaging any other organization that you were with. But the things that people talk about how things are different, and can you speak to what makes the Ravens organization different and maybe why it is that, and like you saw sort of the transition from a time where it looked like the organization was dipping to then suddenly being right back to being amongst the top in the NFL, what it is that makes this club different maybe than others?
Yeah, I think the first thing is from ownership to front office to the coaching, staff, players, everyone involved in the organization, the message is all the same and the mission is the same: to win and to do it in a culture that breeds toughness, discipline, and physicality. And so that permeates throughout the entire organization. And also within the locker room is so special because you have guys who truly care about one another, and you have a structure of leadership that, you know, everyone feels part of the team. You know, guys on the practice squad feel just as much part of the team as they do as the guys on active roster. And so you really do feel that sense of community. And yeah, it's just an extremely special place just because you don't see that everywhere. And even guys who come in, whether it's free agents coming from the outside or guys coming in the middle of the season, they're welcomed with open arms. And also, I think they have spoken to how special the locker room is, and everyone is just really pulling for each other. And I don't know, you kind of just get indoctrinated into this culture, and it does, permeate through different generations.
Matt, if you could help me understand, what did you major in at Duke?
Psychology and human development.
And is that something you now intend to move forward and pursue something like that, or is coaching in your future? What's in store for Matt Skura? What's next?
Yeah, I really do want to stay around the game of football, so I'm looking into a career in scouting and maybe coaching if it does kind of turn into that. But right now, focusing on scouting, getting to the Senior Bowl, getting to the NFL Combine, and really being in the NFL sphere. And I don't know, I've just learned through just kind of as my transition out of the NFL, I love that competitive environment. I love being around people who are thinking the same way. And, yeah, just being around the football environment, the game, everything, I think really just is what I know and is what I know best. And, yeah, that's kind of what the next steps look like.
Just curious, have you had any discussions with Eric? I mean, is there something is there something here for you?
I don't want to put the cart before the horse,
okay.
But that's definitely a goal of mine and something that, I've had some conversations, and yeah, I mean, just, yeah.
You don't have to say anything more. I don't want to ruin anything. I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to queer something.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where things are headed right now.
Matt, I'm truly happy for you, man. And the fact that you're able to do this and make a decision and be at peace with it and be a dad, and I know that's the most important thing. I'm happy for you, for your family, and for these next steps. We know that people can still be following you right on social media at mskura62.
Yeah, yep, and that should be across pretty much all platforms. Make it nice and easy.
Excellent.
I just want to warn you of one thing. How old is your son, Matt?
Say that again?
How old is your son?
He is 4.
Okay. Glenn last night severely injured his toe.
Sprained my toe trying to comfort my 9-year-old because he wasn't sleeping last night.
That's with a 9-year-old.
So you think football's tough. Yeah,
right. No, I hear you. You know, parenting, it's tough. And you don't – it's mentally, physically. Oh, yeah, it's all the things.
And you guys have a bunch, don't you? Like you've got – I only have the 2. I got 2 boys, and it's hell at all times. How many kids do you have?
We have 4.
Yeah,
so I have a daughter that's 6, son that's 4, and then we just had twins about 5 months ago. That's a boy and a girl.
You're nuts, man. You're nuts. God love you, and God bless your wife. You're absolutely insane.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's craziness, but it's definitely fulfilling, and it's a blessing. But yes, it's a full house. We tell people too, we're done having kids. We're done.
Right. Was this you were going back for a third and it ended up being twins situation?
Yes. Exactly.
It always works that way. That's why I'm so glad my wife said we don't have to try for a third, because I know how that goes. Matt, congratulations, man.
Yep.
We will be in touch for sure. You've always been a great guy.
Baltimore favorite.
Really thoughtful. Love chatting with you, and really happy for you and your family, dude.
Thank you, guys. It was great catching up, and talk soon.
Thanks so much, Matt. Matt Skura, former Ravens offensive lineman, great guy.
Good dude.
Yeah, very happy for him that he's able to step away on his terms and get on with his life, and appreciate him taking the time for us this morning. Project Game Day returns Monday night immediately following Ravens Chargers. Hope you'll come hang out with us, myself, Rita, Femi, KZ, Stecca, the whole crew. You never know who's hopping on for Project Game Day. PressBoxOnline.com/Game Day is where you find it. It's all brought to you by the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton, as well as Easy Pass and HelpMyGamblingProblem.org. We will see you following the game Monday night, late night edition of Project Game Day. each and every game day all season long. PressBoxOnline.com/gameday. Of course, Stan the Fan Charles is in studio with us on a Friday edition of the program. We will not be here next Friday. We'll be doing getting together virtually to do some picks on Friday, but no GCR next Thursday or Friday because of the holiday. That means it's time now to catch up with Bo Smolka, PressBox Ravens beat writer, with us on the program. Bo, good morning, sir. How are you, my friend?
Good. How are you?
All right. I guess I'm going to present it to you this way. What happened last week in Pittsburgh, is it more closer to indicative of bigger problems the Ravens have, or closer to more of an anomaly given the nature of how the game played out?
It might be a cop-out, but I think it's a mix. I mean, I don't think it's a systemic problem that the Ravens have, but I do think there's something to matchups, and I just don't think they match up particularly well with Pittsburgh. I think it's in their head. I think Pittsburgh's defense is a foil for them consistently. They've obviously done it to Lamar Jackson more than once. So is it, in a way, I guess you would say that's not an anomaly, and that is how it's been with them. I still think the Ravens are a better team than they played in that game, obviously, but you have to give Pittsburgh credit. They have stuffed Lamar Jackson 4 out of 5 times. When you could argue, well, the one time they lost, all the receivers dropped the ball, so that's true. But this is, I think, significantly, I think this is something that's kind of got to be weighing heavily on the Ravens right now, is this kind of hex that the Steelers have over them. And it's going to make that game here in December all the more important. They've really got to figure out a way to get past that.
Clearly, and that's going to be one of the bigger games, I think, of the John Harbaugh era coming up when the Steelers come to Baltimore in December. Bigger regular season games, that is. Bo, that said, the Ravens move forward. They're in Los Angeles on Monday night to take on the Chargers. The concern, I guess, continues to be Roquan Smith, as the drop-off between Roquan Smith, even a Roquan Smith that we don't think has been as good this season as he's been the last 2 years, the drop-off between he and Malik Harrison was pretty evident in the second half on Sunday.
Yep, and I think that obviously is the biggest concern. Hasn't practiced this week. Now, Tuesday was kind of a walkthrough. Wednesday, or the days are all goofy. Then yesterday was kind of the first full practice for the team. He was not out there again. I asked John Harbaugh about him. He said, well, we're not ruling out him playing, but he hasn't been out there yet, and we'll see. But you're right, there's a big drop-off, and I think the Chargers will attack if Roquan Smith is not in there. They will attack the middle of the field. They'll try to run right at Malik Harrison, and it is what it is if he's not available. I think in the depth at that inside linebacker spot has always been a question this whole year. Roquan Smith's just been so solid leading into this year. I know we said he hasn't been as good this year, but I thought he was really good in the Pittsburgh game before he went out. But it's a significant thing. It's the biggest thing to watch on that injury report for sure.
Bo, the changes in the secondary, the pass defense was obviously much better against the Steelers, and I think we acknowledge that Russell Wilson isn't the Russell Wilson of a decade ago, but the move to Ardarius Washington and then, frankly, Tre'Davious White looking better than I think any of us thought that he was going to look after the Ravens acquired him. I don't want to say that I think the pass defense is fixed, because that would be nuts after one game, but it is, on a day that overall was disappointing. I think it's got to be looked at as encouraging about what maybe the Ravens are finding back there.
Yeah, and it's true. And I'll say this, I've been the proponent. I've been on your show, and I've said it multiple times. I think this defense is best when Kyle Hamilton plays near the line of scrimmage. And yet, in that game, when he was playing deep with Ardarius Washington, you could see the benefit of having him back there. And I thought the communication back there was better than it's been all year, and I think that starts with Hamilton having the whole field in front of him and directing things in front of him. Ardarius Washington obviously was back there with him and played well. He always plays bigger than his size. And so I think that and it's funny with Kyle Hamilton, so he starts deep, and yet somehow he always ends up around the ball. It doesn't matter where. He's so rangy. And, I always liked him near the line of scrimmage for the way he can attack the run and the way he can blow up those jet sweeps and get off a tight end block and break up a bubble screen. All of that he does when he's playing near the line. But even on these plays in this game, 2 yards downfield, there's Hamilton somehow. He's closed 20 yards to get to the ball. I found that so impressive. But I thought the communication with him leading the way back there was really good. And I think it's also notable that we asked him yesterday, if Roquan Smith can't play, it sounds like he would wear the green dot helmet and he'd be totally comfortable doing it. He's done it in practice a lot. And so that was definitely a notable change that worked. And I think we'll see it going forward. John Harbaugh said as much. Tre'Davious White was an interesting one because remember when they traded for him, which was really, they didn't give up hardly anything for him. And he hadn't played in a month for the Rams. He had been a healthy scratch, just couldn't get on the field for them. And then here's Tre'Davious White one-on-one against Pickens twice in the end zone, making the play. And so I think we might see more of him. Brandon Stevens did not have a good game. He missed a few tackles, even when he was in coverage and made the play. So those are changes I think we'll probably see more of. I'm not saying Tre'Davious White will replace Brandon Stevens, but he'll be in the rotation, I think, and he's earned that with how he played the other day. And I think that what the Ravens really liked what they saw from Hamilton and Ardarius Washington at the back.
He is Bo Smolka, PressBox Ravens beat writer, and he's with us here on GCR. Bo, it feels like every week we've had to have some sort of Justin Tucker conversation, unfortunately, and that will continue this week. Justin Tucker told you guys that he thinks he might have already figured it out and suggested that was why he was able to make the 54-yarder after the two misses. The Ravens publicly are continuing to say, he's the guy. They didn't bring anybody in for a workout that we got wind of this week or anything like that. I'm past the point where I feel like, it should have been signing a kicker to a practice squad. I feel like the next 2 weeks ahead of the bye, I have started moving into the world of if this doesn't get fixed, as crazy as it sounds, you can't allow this to be what dooms you. And I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if it's carrying two kickers on the roster. I have no idea. But I don't know how much longer it can be like this and you can just keep publicly doing nothing.
I know. I agree with you. And it's funny because I was thinking back to Tucker's rookie year. And when they chose to keep Tucker over Cundiff, people were saying, I can't believe you can't trust a rookie kicker in this spot. How can you go all the way with a rookie kicker? And then, of course, Tucker makes huge kicks in the Mile High Miracle game, and it was great. And they did win the Super Bowl with him as a rookie. And now it's the point where you're saying, well, can they go this far with Tucker? Do you have to have some other option? I asked John Harbaugh Monday if they plan to have a competition, and he said no. He said, who's out there? Basically, who else is out there? Well, every week there's this kind of kicker group. There's tryouts, and I'm not saying they're better than Tucker. They aren't better than Tucker. I'll say flat out, they're not better than Tucker. But there are kickers out there looking for competition, looking for a chance, and exactly as you mentioned, it wouldn't hurt. You could put one on your practice squad and just have him available. Tucker said he started those two kicks middle of the uprights and they drifted left. So therefore, on the third of the 54-yarder. He started a little more to the right, and then it drifted middle. So, of course, the logical question is, well, has that happened all year? And is that why every kick he's missed has missed left? And is that the simple fix is just start the aiming point a little further to the right? I don't know if that's it. It doesn't seem like it's that simple. Justin Tucker says he's fine. They're working on it. And as you said, they're all saying all the right things. The kicks aren't being made as much as they need to be made, though. That's clear. And you did get a sense of a little bit of frustration with John Harbaugh when he says things like Justin needs to make the kick or something like that. The edge, he had a little more edge to him this time, I thought, than other times, as if he's kind of getting tired of talking about it, which would make sense. But yeah, if they go out there, San Diego or Los Angeles rather, and there's another miss or two, I mean, I think at some point, yeah, there would have to be a discussion about having some competition. John wants to say there's no one out there to compete with him. There are kickers out there that you could bring in and sign and look at. They do it all the time. There's kickers being tryouts all the time, and there's kickers on practice squads. So it could be done if you want the look. you might say right away, there's no one out there better than Justin Tucker. And that might be true, but if he's going to continue to keep missing, then I think a look is warranted.
Bo, my question that is really perplexing me, and I don't know when a team gets into this type of mode, but the penalties, this is now season-long endemic on this football team. Does John talk about that much, what they can do to try and address that? Or is it just, I read something when that crew was announced that was not a good crew for the Ravens, but 12 penalties. It's just terrible. Terrible.
I mean, they've led the league in penalties, so it's not just the crew. It's just it's penalties, and so there's a couple of them. And I mentioned on the one I wrote about last Sunday, I think the hardest one for them is the ineligible man downfield, because sometimes those linemen, they think maybe Lamar Jackson's taken off and run, or they have the play behind him, and so they don't know exactly what's going on. They find themselves drifting downfield, and sometimes they're obviously downfield when they shouldn't be. Sometimes it's a little more confusing with how Lamar Jackson improvises. But holding penalties, the pre-snap penalties, and the worst of them is they're setting them into long-distance situations. In fact, on the one, I remember the holding penalty on Ronnie Stanley on a running play. It would have been 3rd and 3, and instead it's 2nd and 19.
Yeah.
And you're sitting on too many 1st and 15s, and that's been really frustrating for them. And the other thing that I think has really irked John Harbaugh is how many times they're getting penalties on kick returns. And it's just aggravating him because he thinks those are flat-out technique and being in the wrong spot and just not paying attention to detail. They work on this all the time. That's the one part of practice we're allowed to see. And yet someone's in the wrong spot, makes a block in the back or whatever it might be, and then instead of starting at the 31, you're starting at the 12. And that's a huge problem. And in fact, it seems like teams are willing to kick off to the Ravens for that reason.
Right.
There's a 50-50 chance they're going to call a penalty, and then they're back at the 10-yard line. I think that's really, really been aggravating him.
I don't know what the answer is, because to your point, it's 12 weeks, or this is week 12. This is not an anomaly. Like, this is part of who you are. This is in your DNA.
It's not just one referee crew, right? I mean, there are flag happy crews, but that's not just one crew doing that.
But Bo, if I could, because Bo Smolka, PressBox Ravens beat writer, is with us in GCR. You reference the men downfield calls, and to me, and I tweeted something about it on Sunday, and everybody's like, well, that's not the story of what happened. I think there's multiple stories. One thing that I have pointed out a couple of times over the last 2 seasons is clearly Lamar Jackson is an outstanding passer. He's unbelievably good at throwing the football, and the nonsense that he was faced with early in his career about how he's not a good – it's bogus beyond bogus. But it almost feels like this has been a forced overcorrection, where, like, I have to throw the ball. I have to keep the play alive to figure out a way to throw. It was brought up by Charles Davis a number of times during the broadcast on Sunday, the running lanes that appeared to be there, to the point about the difficulty for offensive linemen who feel like Lamar is going to take off. Does it seem to you like there has been a greater reluctance for Lamar in situations to say, hey, this play isn't unfolding the way we want it to. I need to go get what I can get on the ground?
I mean, it does seem that, and then I go back to the fact that, he has been on the injury report a few times. I don't know if it's made him more tentative to run, if he's dealing with more than he's letting on to it's just made him less not want to run. But at the same time, he ran a perfect design run 2-point play the one time. And he it seems every now and then, especially if things are going sideways offensively, there are times he will have a designed run. I do agree with that. I think there are times I've expected him to run and he hasn't, and he's waited and tried to look to throw. Like, feels like that was there for 8, 10, 12, 15 yards, and with him, you never know. It might turn into 40. So I agree with you. It seems like it's been less reluctant or more reluctant to run, and I don't know if that's related to his knee that's been on the injury report, whether it's him trying to be committed to get these guys the ball. I don't know about that. But I have noticed that as well. I thought it seems to me he's been more reluctant to run.
It'd be interesting to see maybe after the bye. I don't know. We'll see. Bo Smolka, at B Smolka on Twitter is how you follow him. PressBoxOnline.com is, as always, where you find all of his coverage of the Ravens. Bo, appreciate you, sir. We will not be with you next Friday, but we'll be talking, and I'll be in touch. Thank you for doing this. Happy Thanksgiving to you and to your family, my friend.
All right. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thanks, Bo. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bo Smolka with us as he is every Friday on GCR. When we come back in, we're going to catch up with former Raven Wally Williams. That's next. Stands here. It's a Friday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Visit Hartford is bringing you a brand new event this holiday season that the whole family will enjoy. Lighthouse Field at Ripken Stadium, home of the Aberdeen Ironbirds, will transform into a holiday light experience. You'll be amazed by jaw-dropping light displays, thrilled by a visit to Santa's workshop, and have the holiday time of your life with sleigh rides, a special vendor village, a s'mores-making station, and so much more. Hartford Holidays, new at Ripken Stadium, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, Black Friday through December 22nd. For more information and to purchase tickets, head to visithartford.com.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their amazingly scrumptious, fat, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. Every season is crab season at Costas, so make your plans now by calling 410-477-1975 and reserve your taste of heaven. Sit back, crack some crabs, and watch the Ravens chase down another title on Costas' 15 TVs. On Monday nights, Costas offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30, and there are nightly specials Monday through Friday. So head on down to the Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at CostasInn.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin, and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
The votes were all counted, and the results are official. Royal Farms was named #1 for food in the USA Today 10 Best poll, receiving more votes than any other convenience store chain in America. The next time you want to get some good food fast, doesn't it make sense to go to Royal Farms? Voted best in the USA and home of world-famous chicken. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now. On the cover, Brooks Dubose profiles Maryland basketball forwards Derek Queen and Julian Reese as the Baltimore-built duo reunites in College Park with hopes of bringing the Terps back to prominence. Also inside, meet college basketball players from all of the area's D1 programs. PressBox is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores, where you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
Quarterfinal round of the state high school football playoffs is this weekend, and you can find everything you need to know by going to countysports.zone. That's countysports.zone. Proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. That means we're just 2 weeks away from championship week in Annapolis for the public school level. The MPSSAA football playoffs continue this weekend, the quarterfinal round. Go to countysports.zone in order to get all of the scores, the schedules, the brackets, everything you need to know for high school football playoff season. Of course, next week also is the Turkey Bowl between Calvert Hall and Loyola over at United Stadium. Maybe a little bit less sting with Spalding having dominated the A Conference the way that they have, but it's still Calvert Hall Loyola that we're talking about. So you can find out all about that at countysports.zone. Yes, sir?
You know me. I'm not confrontational.
Uh-oh.
You know.
Wait, are you changing your mind right now?
But this guy.
Oh?
There's a big story that
the hell's happening?
Jason Kelsey
right?
is going to host a late-night show on ESPN.
Yes.
I understand that he's been talking about being like the second banana.
What?
Like the Ed McMahon
what?
on that show.
No, he's going to learn how to say you are correct, sir?
He's deep in negotiations.
I don't think that job is coming, unfortunately. I don't think that's the
Can
case.
you confirm that you're not in contact with ESPN on being the sidekick to Jason Kelsey?
We got to move on, Stan. We don't have time to we got to. There's things we got to get to.
I understand what they liked most about him was how he used the word correctly in the contest. You know, when you put your card in correctly, they were really impressed with that.
This is a first. We've just now seen the first Thursday Night Football flex. The NFL just announced it in Week 16. It doesn't impact the Ravens, obviously, because the Ravens are in that goofy part of the year where they have to play on Saturday because they're playing the silly Wednesday game the following week. But they're going to move the Broncos-Chargers game to Thursday night. So that's the first time we've seen a flex Thursday night football game.
So it's been flexed from a Sunday game
to
back
Thursday,
to a Thursday
to a Thursday game. So, you know, if you were, like, say, a Broncos fan who was planning to travel out to Los Angeles and bought plane tickets, this sucks. This sucks for you,
so
man.
It's Broncos, who is it?
Broncos-Chargers. Was going to be on Sunday. Okay. The Thursday night game was going to be Browns-Bengals. They're flipping the two. Browns-Bengals is going to Sunday.
It's a huge matchup, the Broncos and the
I mean, it's two teams that are competing. Right. Like, they're definitely two playoff teams at the moment. So I get that it's more desirable for Thursday night football, but that is a hell of a this flex thing, like, there are definitely people that are going to be damaged significantly that bought flights, bought hotels. L.A. is typically – there's going to be a lot of Ravens fans in L.A. on Monday night. L.A. is one of those spots where a lot of fans tend to travel to. There is no doubt in my mind a boatload of Broncos fans are going to be put out by this decision because they will find out that they didn't buy flights that they can – it's going to be a problem. But it's the NFL, man. That's their call.
So, and the timing of this, right after the Browns win that game
last
now
night. Congratulations on your big win. No respect.
Yeah, no respect.
No
they
respect.
Don't think they can get a second gear.
I think they're right. But, hey, they did win last night, and the enemy of our enemy is our friend. So right. For one night, that was the case. This man
he's an enemy.
No, he's not an enemy whatsoever. Not at all. He's a friend. Well, what's left of him is a friend anyway. And he knows a thing or two about the Cleveland Browns because it's actually where he began his NFL career. He is a former Raven. He is now very involved in the Ed Block Courage Awards and the Courage Cast. He is our friend Wally Williams, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Wally, it's Glenn and Stan the Fan. It's always great to catch up, my friend. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem. It's kind of windy right here where I am, so you hear this wind come in the phone. But, man, it's always a pleasure to talk with you fellas, man. Always.
How you been, Wally?
I've been fine. Stan, my man. Stan, my man. It's always a pleasure, buddy.
Yep. Always a pleasure.
Yes.
So, Wally, you see the snow last night, right? Do you think to yourself, that's living. That's AFC North football. I miss those days. Or would you say, yeah, dude, actually, when I finished in New Orleans, I would have been good with playing indoors for the rest of my life if that had been a possibility.
No, man. Look, that was one of the regrets of my career. You know, I'm a photogenic kind of guy. So I always wanted to have the snowfall going there and the offensive line thing going, blocking somebody, and I never got that game-wise. I got a lot of practices like that in that snow, but never got it game time, prime time like last night. I love it. It was the drama of the whole thing, everything. And And they did us a favor, huh? Let us back in the AFC North right there. Let us back in. So one door closes and one door opens. I love it.
Salute Cleveland Browns. We appreciate you, dude.
We salute the Brownies, baby.
Wally, we're gonna talk up this event that you guys are doing, but I do want to run this by you because Stan just brought it up a minute ago. We were talking about penalties for the Baltimore Ravens, and I'll pose this generically for you. When a team is penalized a lot, and particularly because it's your area of expertise on the O-line, when there's a lot of downfield, when there's a lot of holding, is that, immediately whenever there's a big number of penalties, fans will say, well, that's on the coaches. That's the coach's fault. This shouldn't be happening. I pose you, is that really the case? Because we all know that no coach is going out there and saying, here's what I think you should do on this play. Hold, grab. That nobody's saying that. Is it on the coaching the way we think it is, or is this the responsibility maybe of an offensive line that we all knew coming into the year was a little inexperienced, and this is what you get when you go that route?
No, this is what you get. Penalties are just like mental mistakes. Usually they come from players being either out of position, not understanding the play call, and understanding the idiosyncrasies of how plays work. A lot of our blocking schemes, a lot of things I even coach right now, I tell my guys up front to understand what the running back behind you is doing. That way you understand the flow of the defense, okay, and then you get your body in positions to make blocks, which cuts down on holding calls. When you know the screens and the timing of it, cuts down on players being downfield. Understand the offensive philosophy, the check downs, the formations. These are things that players have to learn and have to get acclimated to. And I find a lot of guys don't know. A lot of players just know the play, but they don't know all the details on the operations of how plays work and who's involved. So that's when you get these calls and get really a lot of things that you have within an inexperienced offensive line.
Explain to me, I often the penalties in football that get me are, let's say it's 3rd and 19, and you get a 5-yard defensive holding penalty, and it gives you an automatic first down. I've always wondered about that. But this one that the Ravens got called for with the offensive lineman downfield, the play was to the right side, right? They got a 19-yard gain, and the guy was 1 yard in front, sort of the center position. How is that? What is the importance of calling that as a penalty? It doesn't look like it doesn't seem like it's impacting the play at all.
You're exactly right. And, look, as much as I can talk about the mistakes that we as players can possibly make and what we do, you got some punk behind referees out here that just want to call a game tight too now. I mean, I dealt with a game just over this weekend where as a high school team, we got 21 holding penalties called on us, okay, and maybe 5 were legit. Okay, so, you have those scenarios out there where we have, home team kind of deals, or maybe some of these referees don't like the teams that they deal with, but
Wally,
that's something. But that's something that we've been battling for some time now. Referees not being accountable for some of the calls they make. Are they legit calls? Do we need to make these calls in that certain situation?
I'm going.
It's just a battle back and forth.
I'm going deeper though than the referee calling the penalty. I'm trying to understand what the purpose of the penalty is. In other words, when you sit there and write the rules, how does it impact a play down the right sideline, 18 or 19 yards down, that one of your offensive linemen is 1 yard in front of the line of scrimmage? I don't understand what the purpose of the rule is.
Yeah, I agree with that, because that's not going to fit. Now, we're 5-6 yards downfield. Okay, that's understandable.
Yeah.
But 1 yard is a gray area, and referees, they tinker and go back and forth. Individual crews make certain calls. I remember playing for the Browns, and Coach Belichick had a stat sheet of the referees that called our games. And he would tell you, this group of referees call these kind of penalties, so watch out. This group of referees call downfield kind of penalties or legal procedures. And we had to pay attention to those groups because some of them are just, more sticklers than others.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that we just all had to navigate. But I agree with you, Stan. I mean, 1 yard downfield is nothing. 5 yards, okay.
Yeah.
But, it's a gray area penalty, and, referees will abuse those will abuse the rules to to a certain extent, man.
He is former Raven Wally Williams. He is with us here on GCR. Wally has been for how long have you been with the Ed Block Courage Awards now, Wally?
Am I in 27 here? 26, 27 years?
Wow, it's
Wow.
incredible run. And I know you've been doing the Courage Cast recently. This is a really cool thing that you guys are doing. This is coming up December 9th, the Holiday Party with Zay Flowers. You want to tell us a little bit about this event, why it's important for you guys, and why you want to have everybody come out and join you for the Holiday Party?
Well, look, anytime, and Baltimore fans have always been the best to come out for our guys. But, when you have a guy like Zay Flowers come out and doing things, one of our young up-and-coming superstars here, catch him early before his money get up, and he gets too busy for us, okay? So it's going to be a great event. Again, just like you said, it's going to be December 7th through the 9th. Look, hospitality for everybody. You can purchase tickets. That's the thing. Purchase tickets. The tickets are going to be, I think they had $100 a pop there. And look, it's going to be food. It's going to be events. It's going to be a Q&A with Zay there. Ask any kind of questions you want about the team and where it's going, how he feels about it. And, of course, we're going to be there with the live broadcast. And we want to get some fans out there, put you on, maybe throw some comments out there about what you feel about the season. But, at the end of the day, it's a great opportunity for the Baltimore community to come out, the Ravens community to come out and have a great event. And, hey, we may have some imposters there, but they're celebrating because, my man, we have to ban D.C., Dwayne Clemens, no Kansas City Chiefs ring.
Yeah, no, that's not allowed,
okay?
100%.
No,
definitely not allowed.
No KC paraphernalia, no KC rings. And I know he's going to try to show it with all, I think, 2 or 3 of his.
Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
Let me give the rundown for everybody. December 9th at the Evolved Hospitality Catering Hall in Fallston, of course, with Zay Flowers. The live podcast, the audience Q&A, as Wally mentioned, meet and greet and photo op with the Ravens star wide receiver. You can enjoy a tailgate buffet from the 3-time Best of Baltimore chef Zach Traybold of the renowned The Local Restaurants. Donate a toy to support the children of St. Vincent's Villa, which we all know it's the Courage House for the Baltimore Ravens, and receive an autographed picture from Zay. As Wally mentioned, tickets are $100. They're available right now. bidpal.net/Holiday24, and that's Holiday. You're just replacing the D in holiday with a Z. Holiday.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Come on, Stan. Jump on board, baby.
I'm getting old, Wally. I'm getting old.
And we'll put a link up as well on our Twitter account at Glenn Clark Radio. Again, bidpal.net/Holiday24 to get your tickets for the Holiday Party. Wally, big picture, how, it's frustrating. You're coming off a loss to the Steelers. It feels like the Steelers have kind of had your number recently. Then they turn around, they lose. They're certainly not infallible. Big picture, how do you feel about where this Ravens team is moving towards Thanksgiving?
Listen, let me tell you something, man. As much as I'm a football player and all that kind of mess and coaching and everything, the Baltimore fan base are pretty good football people, okay? And I'm just like you guys, all right? I feel that this team can go as far as we want to go, okay, if we stop making dumbass decisions and taking Derrick Henry out of the game. Okay? It's as simple as that.
Thank you for saying that.
Okay, you cannot tell me that it is a good decision on a 4th and 2 situation not to have Derrick Henry in the game. Okay, you cannot tell me that. You cannot tell me that we can only rush him 6 or 7 times in the second half. Okay, you cannot tell me that. You cannot tell me that the Baltimore Ravens offense is a passing offense. We're getting there. But we're not a prolific passing offense with Derrick Henry in the backfield. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, and we have never been that. So let's not try to be what we're not. Let's do what we do well, and we will be playing in February in the Superdome down in New Orleans. It's as simple as that.
All right. right.
That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it, man.
I hope you are right about that, my friend. That would be good news for everyone. All right. We will continue to get the word out about the holiday party and get your tickets now before they are gone for December 9th. Wally Williams, always appreciate you, brother.
Great to catch up, Wally.
Hey, one more thing for my Baltimore fans out there, okay? At the holiday thing, okay? You get your autographs, okay? No selling on eBay.
Yeah.
All right, no selling on eBay.
They're for you.
I don't want to see it anywhere. Okay.
Damn! I was gonna do that.
Stan was about to hit you up to try to sneak in somehow in order to get his own. He was about to work on that. No, they're for you. They do make good Christmas. Like if you want to give them to somebody for Christmas, that's a different conversation.
That's a different deal. That's a great Christmas present, but no
100%.
eBay.
No,
okay?
none of that. None of that at all. All right, bro. Appreciate you.
I want the Wally Williams autograph.
That's the one. I'm putting that one on eBay. That one's going right to eBay.
I'm not, because it's not worth anything
anymore.
anymore.
Don't say that.
You may get $10 for mine. That's about it for mine.
That's about it, dude.
Hey, buddy. Appreciate you. Always good
Love
to catch
you, Wally.
up, man.
All right, fellas. Love you guys, man. You guys have fun.
Wally Williams with us here on GCR. Again,
one of the good dudes.
Yeah, bidpal.net/holiday24.
What number did Wally wear?
Wally wore
64.
Was it?
Wasn't he a 64?
I thought it was 63 too, Griffin.
It was 63.
It was 63.
Yeah, at least the picture
I was
I
just
have
checking.
of
Yeah,
I was just checking on both of you.
Wait a second. Let's.
Maybe he wore 64 at some point.
Yeah, is it possible that he changed numbers at some point while he was
with
Raven?
the Ravens? I'm pretty sure.
No, he wore 63 the entire time he was a Raven. He did briefly wear 67 as a Brown. He did briefly put on 67.
So if you average that,
yeah, it comes out to 65.
65.
So you're wrong again. But other than that,
you get such delight out of saying that you're wrong again.
I was just trying to subtly put it out there and then move past it. That was what I was trying to do. All right, when we come back in, awards season has wrapped up in baseball after the MVPs were announced, which means we can give final scores to our season predictions and find out who owes who lunch. So what are you trying to leave, Stan? I don't understand. Stan seems like he's starting to pack up.
Baseball predictions?
We can put the final scores and see how we did. And see, we'll look into that next. Stan's here. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Brace yourselves for an unparalleled in-person betting experience at the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbook and Bars in Canton and Towson. Experience the thrill of live betting with Baltimore's only state-of-the-art Vegas viewing TV experience. Choose between their on-site tellers or the convenience of their self-bet kiosks to place your bets. And now stop by the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton every Wednesday for a free $10 bet. Just show up, sign up, and get your $10 bet for free. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Go to mdgamblinghelp.org.
Hey, Baltimore, it's number 10, Arthur Millette, and I'm hoping you'll slot us in all season long for the Arthur Millette Show. We will be traveling around the region all season, giving you the chance to get to know me and my teammates. There will be some football talk and a lot more. You can watch this show live on PressBox's Facebook and YouTube pages and listen every Friday night on 105.7 The Fan. Find out more at PressBoxOnline.com/Millette. The Arthur Millette Show, the only show in town that's a work of art.
Visit Hartford is bringing you a brand new event this holiday season that the whole family will enjoy. Leidos Field at Ripken Stadium, home of the Aberdeen Ironbirds, will transform into a holiday light experience. You'll be amazed by jaw-dropping light displays, thrilled by a visit to Santa's workshop, and have the holiday time of your life with sleigh rides, a special vendor village, a s'mores-making station, and so much more. Hartford Holidays, new at Ripken Stadium, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, Black Friday through December 22nd. For more information and to purchase tickets, head to visithartford.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at DriveEasyMD.com.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
It's the famous line from The Sandlot, Stan. He says, "You're killing me, Smalls."
Oh. No, he says, "You're killing me, Clark."
No, unfortunately,
It
it's
says
not
up
what
there,
he
it
says. But
says,
it does say that
"Glenn,
on
you're
the
killing me,
poster.
Clark."
Yes, because David Mickey Evans kindly rewrote that for one for myself, one for Griffin, and one for both of my kids, in fact. And it was very sweet of him.
How come the Grand Poobah didn't get one?
It's a Tirico situation.
Thing?
Yeah, can't go too much further into it. It's bad, Stan. It's ugly. There were some things that were said, in fact. I don't know what you did exactly, but it hasn't been forgotten. So
I know he said things about my mother that would make me mad. That was a Tom Mattyism.
Is that what it was?
Tom would always go, he said things about your mother that made me mad.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, so here's the deal. We looked at it a couple weeks ago to see where we might be, but now we can put it to bed. Remember, we made predictions before the season, and then
Which season is this exactly?
This is baseball season. Before the season, we made predictions.
That contest that he gave us the rules.
Everybody played by the same rules.
Glenn saw he was in bad shape, and he said, "Oh, let's."
We all played by the same rules.
Yeah, let's come up with this new.
Whatever you guys did. No, I'm sure it's my fault that you guys wanted to bid a ton of. Let's see who some of the big bids were in our game, shall we? For example, Stan, your biggest bid was a $7 bid to change your NL East winner. Mm-hmm. You won that bid. That was a good decision for you to bid $7 to move from the Braves to the Phillies. So that was a great play. You also bid $5. All right, let's go. We'll go over it. We'll go over it.
Let's go.
We'll go over it.
Let's go.
Starting in the AL East, Stan said the Orioles would win. Griffin said the Orioles would win. Glenn said the Orioles.
That
would
wasn't
win.
no.
Yes.
No, I didn't.
So that's a scratch across the board for the AL East. In the AL Central,
I remember taking $8 and betting the Yankees.
In the AL Central,
I have a piece
I'm
of
sure
paper
you do.
that
Stan
says
said the Twins would win. Griffin said the Twins would win. At the beginning of the year, Glenn said the Twins would win. But for $3, I bid out to the Cleveland Guardians.
Ooh, what a smart guy.
1 point there.
That's like 1 minute after the rules were laid out.
You figured out how to bid $7 on the Phillies.
Yeah, that was later in the bidding process.
Yeah. $3 on the Guardians.
The only reason I picked the Twins is because it sounds good. Twins win.
Twins win. I see. That's the reason.
And that's how Griffin did it, too.
AL West. Stan the Fan picked the Houston Astros. Griffin
he was correct.
Picked the Houston Astros. Glenn picked the Houston Astros. So it's 1 point across the board for each of us. AL wildcard selections. Of course, we know that the wildcards ended up being the Orioles, the Royals, and the Tigers. The selections for Stan the Fan, the Yankees, the Mariners, and at the beginning of the year, the Rangers. But good news, Stan.
Yes.
You bid out of the Texas Rangers.
Yes, I
Very
did.
smart. And you put $5. Changed your pick to the Minnesota Twins. So Stan takes an offer and wasted $5 of his wagering. Griffin's wild card.
Griffin, do you hear what he does? Whenever I'm wrong about
What's
something,
that?
there's a guffaw. There's a guffaw.
Griffin's picks for AL wild cards were the Yankees, the Rays, and the Rangers. So
0 for
Griffin
3.
also goes 0 for 3, but he didn't bid out on any of those. And for myself, the wild card picks, I also did not bid out Blue Jays, Yankees, and Rangers. So across the board, nothing on AL wild cards. To the NL East, where we learned Stan the Fan for $7. Bid out of the Atlanta Braves, bid in to the Philadelphia Phillies. Stan, you pull into a tie at the moment with Glenn with your second point. Good bidding there. Griffin.
Thank you.
Griffin had the Braves. Glenn had the Braves. So nothing there. It's 2 for Stan, 2 for Glenn, 1 for Griffin in this moment. To the NL Central. Of course, the NL Central won by the Milwaukee Brewers. Griffin got a Manager of the Year future in on Pat Murphy. It was beneficial for him.
Very nice.
Bastard.
You're mad at me for that?
Even better, he was feeling so froggy that he bid $3 to change his preseason pick from the Cincinnati Reds to the Milwaukee Brewers. So Griffin
Always been a Brew Crew guy.
moves into the tie with a second point, a good bid. Stan,
Excellent bid by Griffin.
Stan and Glenn both had the Cincinnati Reds. So we all picked the Reds before the season.
I know.
In the NL Central.
I think we had before the season, every single division winner was.
The same.
We went 6 for 6.
Is that
All
really
three
the
of us.
case?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's crazy.
By the way, did you see who signed with the Toronto Blue Jays?
Juan Soto? No.
No,
I did not
not as a manager in waiting.
Oh,
David Bell.
Oh, David Bell. Okay. All right. I thought you were going to bring up the big move this week, which, of course, was Austin Slater going to the White Sox. Huge. It's going to have seismic impact
You
on
know what was accurate was when you go to Google and the stories there, slugging, it called him a slugging outfielder.
Well.
I mean, he has a slugging percentage.
Maybe on Google,
so
slugging means something different. Maybe. I don't know.
He's got a slugging percentage. So
Across the board, we all picked the NL West champion Los Angeles Dodgers. None of us bid out. We all get that point. So after the division winners, we are 3-3-3.
Can we stop there?
Stop the count is what you're suggesting? Stop the count, Stan says.
Stop the steal.
Stop the steal. NL wildcards were the Braves, the Mets, and the Padres. Stan the Fan's choices for NL wildcards. The Diamondbacks, the Giants, and before the season, the Philadelphia Phillies. But good bidding. Stan for $5 got the San Diego Padres. So Stan comes away with 1 point and moves into the lead.
4.
Griffin, your wild cards. The Philadelphia Phillies, the Chicago Cubs, and the San Diego Padres. So Griffin also gets 1 point, moves into a tie with
Back
Stan.
in the tie with me.
My wild cards were the Philadelphia Phillies, Miami Marlins, and the San Diego Padres.
What was that? Hold on. Make sure.
Who
Make
was
sure
the
I have them like
second?
up all the way.
Who was it? St. Louis?
Miami Marlins.
Marlins. That's embarrassing.
You should get a negative point.
You
for
don't
that.
get
That's not
negative
even,
points in our game.
If they get the first overall pick, you should get a negative
points.
For saying they would be a
So
playoff
we all
team.
got the Padres. We're all tied again at 4. Now to the Rookie of the Years. Stan the Fan, your choices for Rookie of the Year were in the American League, Evan Carter. In the National League, Jackson Churio. 0 for 2.
I got Jackson.
No, he did not win.
Oh, Paul Skeens
Yeah,
won.
Paul
That's
Skeens
right.
won.
Oh, he had it.
Yeah, 0 for 2 for Stan the Fan.
Yep.
Gets a
Yep.
scratch there. For Griffin Bass, his AL Rookie of the Year before the year was Jackson Holiday.
Oh, he didn't win.
Didn't win, but for $3, he
Oh.
bid out of Jackson Holiday and got Luis Heel.
See, I knew there was going to be some home cooking, obviously.
Before the season,
Excellent.
NL Rookie of the Year selection for Griffin, Shoto Imanaga. He bid out for $7.
Got Paul Skeens.
So
He's in the
Griffin
lead. He's in the
takes
lead.
a sizable advantage as he gets 2 points.
Is it insurmountable?
We'll find out. Before the year, my choice to be AL Rookie of the Year was Evan Carter, and my NL choice, Jackson Merrill. Thought it would have been really big if I had stolen that after a $7 bet from you, but doesn't end up being the case. I'm also a scratch. So Griffin now with a 6-4 lead after that.
Over both of us, correct?
Over both of us. We're both sitting at 4. To the Cy Young Awards. Stan the Fan, your AL Cy Young Award winner was Corbin Burns. Your NL Cy Young winner was Spencer Strider.
Lasted about a week.
That's going to be a
0
scratch
for 2
on both of those. For Griffin, AL Cy Young.
I'm just curious. How come I didn't bid out?
I don't know why you wouldn't have bid out Spencer Strider.
Was I out of money?
You were out of money.
Probably the case. Yeah,
you had already spent
what was there? Some rule there was like $15?
It was $15. It was exactly
$20. It was like $100.
Well, then the bidding would have looked a little bit different if that were the case. We all had the same amount, Stan.
All right, so I'm 0 for 2 there.
Griffin's AL Cy Young winner was Corbin Burns. His NL Cy Young pick at the beginning of the year was Aaron Nola, but for $4 he bid out to Chris Sale. Griffin
smart.
running away at the moment, 7-4. Before the year, my AL Cy Young pick was Corbin Burns. My NL Cy Young pick was Zach Wheeler. So womp womp, scratch on both. AL MVP, Stan the Fan, your pick before the season, Juan Soto. A fine pick, but not a winner. Your NL pick, Bryce Harper, 0-4-2. Griffin, your AL MVP pick was Julio Rodriguez. Your NL MVP pick was Mookie Betts. So Griffin also goes 0-4-2.
How come he didn't pull out of that one?
I spent all my money, I think.
That's
true. Glenn
was sitting. Everybody had wasted all of their money.
Glenn cheated.
No, it didn't cheat in any way. Everybody had wasted all of their money, and so the bids were sitting there for me to win. My AL MVP before the year was Kyle Tucker.
Well, he got hurt. He
was injured.
Would have stuck around.
He was injured.
Not so great. My NL MVP before the season was Ronald Acuna. But
Injured.
I bid $3 out from Kyle Tucker to Aaron Judge, and I bid $4 out from Ronald Acuna to Shohei Ohtani. So 2 points that way. And now it's all going to come down to the World Series, because going into the World Series, Griffin has 7 points. Glenn has 6 points. Stan has 4 points. So we go to the World Series. We'll begin with the leader, Griffin Bass. Your pick for the World Series was, in 7 games specifically, the Baltimore Orioles.
That's a good choice.
Over the Philadelphia Phillies. That would be scratch and scratch.
It's close.
Second place. At the beginning of the year, I had the Atlanta Braves over the Baltimore Orioles. But with you guys having pissed away all of your money, I was able to swoop in for $5.
Make a genius pick,
and
right?
make a genius pick. The exact same pick that... Oh, not the exact same. You had the Orioles over the Phillies. I had the Phillies over the Orioles. So, womp womp.
Zeros.
So, Stan, here's the situation.
Yeah.
You can't overtake Griffin, but you could tie me, and then the two of us would both have to take Griffin out for lunch.
Yes. Which you should do anyway, but yeah.
As long as you got both ends of the World Series correct.
All right.
If you didn't get both ends correct,
I don't think I did.
you've got to take Griffin and I out to
I
lunch.
I don't think I
It would be
did.
painful if you only got one end of the World Series correct. And so the good news is you don't have to feel that pain. You got no ends of the World Series correct. Stan the Fan's World Series choice was
Houston,
the Baltimore Orioles over the Atlanta Braves. That was the choice for Stan the Fan. So the final score of our baseball predictions. Griffin is a winner with 7. Glenn in second place with 6. Stan the Fan with 4. So
I'd like to thank the Academy.
Right. I assume
John Colson.
When are we going? When are we going to Ruth Chris? When's the date for our Ruth Chris lunch?
Well, there's a problem.
What's that?
The rules changed. We always eat at Glory Days.
Well,
and
we
the
have
Glory
before.
Days,
Yes, we have.
And
We can
there's
go to
no
another
Glory
one.
Days.
There's one out by Griffin. We can go to that one. We can go to a different.
That's
Glory
fine
Days.
if we still have gift cards.
Well, Ruth Chris is by you, so I say that would make that would make some sense.
I moved.
No, I happen to know where your
That whole
mansion
big house?
is. I know where your mansion. Your mansion.
I moved into a much smaller place.
Oh yeah, I happen to know where it is. So we'll come. We will make the sacrifice.
Come to my house. I'll make
you
a
know
sandwich.
What, Sam? Look at that. Look at that right there. Look at that. Do you see what's on
Whoa,
the
all
board
right.
there? Yeah.
Well,
So
there could be anything in there. We don't know.
We'll come join you.
I'll
for,
tell you what, that'll be good for one of us.
Probably the case. Probably the case.
The winner.
You have anything you want to say about your performance?
It was a dismal performance. I plan on coming back even stronger next year.
I appreciate that.
Are we playing with the same crazy rules?
Well, we can debate the rules. I suggested the rules, and you guys were like, yeah, that sounds good.
Maybe more
I
money.
don't recall saying
definitely
that sounds
did.
good.
You definitely did.
I
You
said,
want-
hold on.
But if there's more money,
said,
it's not going
let's
to
pump the-
change. It's
I
just we're just going to bid more money.
I
That's
know,
all
I
it's
Let's
know,
gonna
but
pump the brakes on.
No, that's
on
not.
These
That's
rules.
definitely
Have a
not
little
what
more
happened.
left at the end.
You said that after what happened. After you got to the end, you were like, "Now wait a second, what just happened here?" But look, man, a lot of people. You got two of your bids. Two of your bids turned into points for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have had 2 points, Stan.
yeah, right. It could have been much worse. Think about that. It could have been a disaster. Anything percolating on the hot stove that is of interest to you at this point?
Not really. I'm upset. There was a pitcher that I wanted the Orioles to go after. It was Eli Morgan, and the Cubs made a small trade and acquired him from the Cleveland Guardians. I think he's a good bullpen arm. And they gave up a young, interesting player, like a 19 or 20-year-old Latina, who's going to be probably a good player one day.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of heat surrounding. I think our friend Jim Duquette was still swirling the Orioles and Max Fried rumors this past week.
I have no,
I'm certainly not opposed to it. That's
No.
what I know.
No.
I am not opposed to it whatsoever.
All the names that you hear,
Yeah.
Max Fried, Blake Snell, Corbin Burns. I mean, you can't go wrong with the three of them.
Teoscar Hernandez. We have not talked since the news about the wall.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it makes sense. I'm not quite. I haven't really read that much about the how it's going to be configured.
Yeah, so we've seen the pictures. What Mike Elias said, I think, was that in certain spots the wall would be coming in 20 feet. That's the most that it would come in at any spot. In other spots, it would be coming in like 9 to 10 feet in those spots. So it doesn't seem like it's such a dramatic overcorrection that pitchers would be panicked about it.
Right.
It still seems like there would be a benefit. It always seemed to me like it was I liked the concept. I just didn't like the look. I thought it. I don't.
Yeah, it was the look of it was not great. I liked it being deeper, but it's funny. I've been watching Oriole baseball, since 1960, and I don't recall at the new stadium that when we had Mike Mussina, Ben McDonald, Rick Sutcliffe, Jimmy Key, Scott Erickson, I don't recall that home runs were that big a problem in left field. Suddenly, when we had players like Jose Mercedes, pitchers like Jose Mercedes,
The great Daniel Cabrera. Please show some respect.
Daniel Cabrera, Bruce Chen, those type of pitchers. What's the guy Dan Straley?
Bruce Chen was a lefty, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a lefty.
Yeah.
He actually was pretty good for us the year before we hired Leo
Yeah, he was
Mazzoni.
decent. He was decent.
And then Leo Mazzoni didn't like Bruce Chen, and Bruce Chen got very nervous pitching for Mazzoni and was awful.
Look,
the second year.
I am, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I just want it to look. I hate. I know it's such a small thing. It doesn't matter. I hate ballpark crevices. I hate that. It feels very unnatural. The things that can lead to fake, farcical inside the park home runs because the ball just happens to bounce off a wall. An outfielder's trying to play it, is in good position. It bounces off an edge of a wall that shoots it out to a different way, and now all of a sudden you're chasing after it.
You get upset about that.
That's not baseball to me. That's something that you would do in your backyard as a kid. Like, I've never liked that. I don't like it anywhere that it exists. It should be one pattern, and if a ball bounces off a wall, the outfielder should be able to play it. There shouldn't be some goofy jut that sends it a different way.
You mean like the rules of your contest?
No, the rules of that were presented and agreed upon. And
what happened to the old days when you picked winners and you were stuck with them?
Man, I'm not sure that you want to go back to the pre. We can. Do you want to? We can erase everything from the middle of the season, and I'm pretty sure that the result would be the exact same. Unfortunately,
for me, but it would also be bad for you.
Hang on, let's see what it would have been.
If we hadn't made any changes.
If we hadn't made any changes,
I picked up 4 points.
You picked up 4, so you would still have 3. So
you picked up 3, right?
I picked up 3, so I would still have 3. So Stan, unfortunately,
you would still be last.
It would still be
3-3-2.
3-3-2 would be the score. So, but look, Ruth Chris is gonna be nice. Okay. It's gonna be a nice lunch at Ruth Chris.
All right.
I enjoy. Now, do they still have the surf and turf, or do we have to special order that ahead of time? Do we have?
They got great wraps at Burger King for $2.99.
If you say so, but they're not a partner of ours, so we gotta support partners, Stan. That's the important part of this. All right, when we come back in, we will get a tidbit and we will get Tubular to wind things down. It is a Friday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at DriveEasyMD.com.
PressBox's Project Game Day is the place to be after every game this season. Join Glenn Clark, Rita Hubbard, Super Bowl 35 champion Femi Ayanbadejo, and our cast of regulars as they break down what happened, why it mattered, and what it means moving forward. You can watch the show at PressBoxOnline.com/GameDay or PressBox's Facebook and YouTube pages. Project Game Day is brought to you by the Green Turtle Sportsbook in Towson and Canton, Easy Pass, and HelpMyGamblingProblem.org. So join us for Project Game Day after every game day this football season at PressBoxOnline.com/GameDay.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their amazingly scrumptious, fat, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. Every season is crab season at Costas, so make your plans now by calling 410-477-1975 and reserve your taste of heaven. Sit back, crack some crabs, and watch the Ravens chase down another title on Costas' 15 TVs. On Monday nights, Costas offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30, and there are nightly specials Monday through Friday. So head on down to the Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at CostasInn.com.
The votes were all counted, and the results are official. Royal Farms was named #1 for food in the USA Today 10 Best poll, receiving more votes than any other convenience store chain in America. The next time you want to get some good food fast, doesn't it make sense to go to Royal Farms? Voted best in the USA and home of world-famous chicken. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to HelpMyGamblingProblem.org.
Brace yourselves for an unparalleled in-person betting experience at the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbook and Bars in Canton and Towson. Experience the thrill of live betting with Baltimore's only state-of-the-art Vegas viewing TV experience. Choose between their on-site tellers or the convenience of their self-bet kiosks to place your bets. And now stop by the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton every Wednesday for a free $10 bet. Just show up, sign up, and get your $10 bet for free. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Go to mdgamblinghelp.org.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR. Yeah, interesting, because we heard Daniel Jones in this bizarre statement that he made the other day where he, came out and, he had been caught in some sort of scandal, felt like he had to make a statement. We heard him say, "I'm considering my future," and everybody was like, "Dude, what do you mean you're considering your future for this season? You're under contract. You're the backup you're the third-string quarterback. That's just the way that this works."
No, he's the scout team safety.
He was also working as a scout team safety in practice this week.
What he's getting paid as, a scout team safety.
But apparently, this morning, this is the statement from the New York Giants. John Mara says, "Daniel came to see me this morning and asked if we would release him. We mutually agreed that it would be best for him and for the team." So Daniel Jones was just outright released by the Giants this morning, and that leads to the possibility of, as Griffin reminded us in the last segment, someone picking him up to be insurance for them, like the San Francisco 49ers, who are dealing with a Brock Purdy injury at the moment. I'm a little surprised that a team would just give a player the outright release, but that said, the Giants clearly weren't going to play Daniel Jones again because they don't want to be at injury risk of him, getting hurt, and then you're on the hook for his contract next year. They had already made peace with the dead money it was going to cost them in order to get rid of him. He was not going to be on the roster next season, so if you're not going to play him anyway, then what does it hurt you? I guess some Giants fan could be pissed off if there was a division rival, like if the Cowboys picked him up and then I don't know. I mean, but
yeah.
It really is of no. The Giants fans don't really seem to like Daniel Jones all that much, so I don't know that they're going to be bothered by anybody that he might sign with. I'm sure there will be a team that will be happy because you can have him now for a song, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Giants are.
It was, I think, Pelissero just tweeted. Hold on, because no one's going to include him off waivers,
right?
Because
you're not going to take the contract.
Yeah,
yes, you're not doing that
the rest of the year.
Right.
So yeah, you can sign him as a free agent for nothing.
Next to nothing. Yeah, whatever teams want to bid at that point, you could have him for. And so I have no doubt that he will find
Maybe the Steelers want another quarterback on the roster.
Yeah, just throw one more, middle of the road quarterback at it and see if we only have 3 middle of the road quarterbacks, then that will be the answer and that will solve the problem. Everybody's talking about the 49ers because Brock, but I don't know exactly what the extent. If Brock Purdy's really hurt, then yeah, there would be. I don't even know who their backup quarterback is.
It
San
is.
Francisco.
John Lynch just made a statement. It was somebody named Webb. No, Brandon Allen, not Webb.
Brandon Allen.
Brandon Allen and Josh Dobbs are the backups, and they didn't say. I guess he would go Josh Dobbs at that point because.
I mean, he's definitely been
magic last year.
More competent recently, but I don't. That wore off pretty quickly too. The moment he got to Minnesota, like everybody looked around, like, yeah, this isn't a thing.
I wonder if a team like Seattle would take a quick look at him for the second half of the year.
I mean, given how Geno played last week, I don't think that's you'd now be at a place where, and that might really be the case, is that there's no team that actually needs someone to play. This is all just
there's nowhere that he can be a Joe Flacco.
Like Jacksonville needs a quarterback, but what would the point be of going to Jacksonville? Like what would that be? To do what? You're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything. Right. You're not going to be the quarterback next year. I mean, like this is where it does become interesting for Daniel Jones. If Jacksonville's interesting, do you say, hey, it's better for me to just be somewhere where they're going to let me play
right.
so that I can play for a couple of weeks and hope to show something so that I get a shot next year? Or do you want to go somewhere where they might be relevant and just be a backup quarterback for a couple of weeks? And
maybe if that's his career, like if he sees that as his actual option, to have a career as a backup quarterback now, then maybe that is
maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the better play is for Daniel Jones. It also feels like there's a part of me that feels like, dude, really? Like I know this is going to sound he's doing what's best for him. God bless him, and the Giants are willing to go along with it. But there's a part of me that finds it like distasteful that you deal with adversity and your answer to adversity is I quit. Like that there's a part of me that still feels that way, where things didn't work out your way and so I quit. Like that's tough.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, maybe they made it very clear we're not going. I mean, he had sunk to fourth. He was playing scout team.
Right.
Tommy DeVito.
He obviously wasn't going to play. They weren't going to let him play again this season because you would be at the risk. It's not them saying Tommy DeVito is definitively better than Daniel Jones. It's that we can't be on the hook to have to pay your contract next year. We can't have that happen. Your time in New York is done, and it's on you. Like, you weren't good enough. You were serviceable, and like Daniel Jones is better than Tommy DeVito definitively, but that's not the bar for NFL quarterbacks, right? Like that's the bar for sticking around for a few years and collecting paychecks backing someone up. I don't know. There's something about it that I don't like.
So you would not like if the Ravens signed him to be their backup quarterback?
I don't know. I don't know how I would feel about that. I really don't. Like, because then the bar is he better than Josh Johnson? And like, probably, he's probably
From a
better.
physical standpoint, yes.
Yes, he's probably better than Josh Johnson. So, yeah, I guess if the Ravens said, but do I think that there's any chance that if Lamar Jackson gets hurt that Daniel Jones could keep the season alive? Not a chance in hell. So I think I would feel neutral about it if the Ravens were like, yeah, we could have worse backup quarterbacks on this team than Daniel Jones. Let's go with it. I don't know. What's going on with you?
Me?
Yeah, what's going on with you? What can we plug for you? You're in here.
There's nothing going on.
No?
Nothing going on.
All right.
I watched the Tyson fight the other night.
Oh, yeah. Thriller,
That's
huh?
a good choice of time.
Did you watch? I guess I should. I didn't. I wish I had texted you earlier saying the fight before that one was the fight of the night.
Women's
fight.
The
women's fight, Serrano versus
I
Taylor.
missed that.
Yeah, it was a bloodbath.
I was in that den all the way down.
And
each time I'd click on it to watch.
Oh, it wouldn't work.
Early, it said reminder, so it made it seem like. And then when it came on, it was the aftermath of the women's fight. Yeah.
Well, that one was actually a fight, which was a novel concept for a fight night, is they actually had a fight.
Well, let me ask you one question. This Jake Paul, he made $40 million, I heard, and Tyson made $20.
Yeah.
Who has he fought before?
No one. He's not a boxer.
Nate Robinson,
right?
Nate Diaz.
He's a grifter.
This is a grift. This is the bit that people try to do. We're like, well, yeah, but you got to give him his respect. No, he hasn't fought one fighter.
Right.
Not one. Right. He has done nothing.
He fought a 58-year-old guy who hadn't been in the ring
thing, and he lost.
He hadn't. Exactly. He fought a 58-year-old who hadn't been in the ring in 20 years, right?
Well, he did fight Roy Jones Jr.
What's that?
He had an exhibition against Roy Jones 4 years
That's
ago.
right. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I forgot that.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Box committee's going to come down.
And he couldn't knock the guy out.
It's why if you're angry about what you saw, it's not a them problem, it's a you problem. You're angry at the wrong person. Yeah. You knew what this was a farce.
Well, there's no reason for anger because you didn't pay extra for it. If you had Netflix, you watched the fight.
Exactly.
If you're a fight fan.
No, if I'm a fight fan, I would rather watch a fight. There was zero world where I was watching this.
I was curious to see what Tyson would look like. And frankly, I was impressed with how he looked for 58 and not having been in the ring in 4 years, and prior to that, another 16. He didn't embarrass himself to me. I expected what I saw. Basically
the participation in it is embarrassing. It bothers me to my core that this is what we are as a society. This is what we have to offer, and it bothers me as someone who does love boxing. Like,
look, I'm watching that game last night in Cleveland, and you know my politics. I'm born a liberal Democrat. I'll die a liberal Democrat.
He actually came out of the womb waving a JFK flag.
Yeah, exactly. No, JFK. I
know.
I was an Adlai Stevenson.
There
baby.
we go.
But seriously, I'm watching the Cleveland Browns fans last night. Those naked,
Oh yeah.
And I'm going,
Hell yeah.
yeah, this is Ohio. This is
who
they got
chooses our
60%. They
Yeah,
got
this is
60% of the
this is
people
who gets
voted
the-
for Donald Trump.
This is who, I don't mind the fact that you go out where look, man, these guys going out with shirtless.
Those people, I guarantee you, not one of them voted for Kamala Harris.
Oh boy, now we're gonna have to do some deep research. Now we got to get to the bottom of it. I'll never be bothered by it. Now look, when I was young, I did lots of stupid things. Right. I couldn't fathom doing that today, and these guys look closer to my age at this point than they do to Griffin's age. But whatever, man. Like dumb things at football games are things that we'll see for forever. And I don't know. I kind of was digging the vibe. I was kind of digging the.
Man, I wish I was there.
I'll tell you what was
like,
impressive is that, and they kept talking about it. Al Michaels kept talking about it. Is nobody left?
It's not just that nobody left. How many Browns fans there were? The Browns are garbage.
It's not far from Pittsburgh
They're
either. Yeah,
garbage. And there were so many Browns fans that chose to spend their night in the freezing cold watching a shit football team. Like, now they got rewarded for it. They got to win. But, like, it's a miracle. We talk about this. What was it that Drew asked me what the attendance was for the Maryland-Rutgers game on Saturday, and we looked it up and we saw it was 31,000. And, like, you would think that somebody would say, it's pathetic. No, it's 31,000 people chose to spend their day watching a bad Maryland football team play a bad Rutgers football team. That's incredible.
Yep.
That many Browns fans chose to spend their time.
Well, Rutgers is going to be bowl eligible, aren't they?
Yes, they was that
likely? No. Or they're going to be a lot closer than Maryland.
Maryland ain't getting there. That ain't happening. That's just what it is. But they are going to hold on to. There was a little bit of concern late that Michigan would try to swoop in.
6-4.
Yeah, that Michigan would try to spend a boatload of money on Malik Washington to try to steal him away from Maryland because it looked like they were losing out on their number one quarterback prospects. But last night, first reports came in that Malik Washington was saying, "I don't care how much money they offer me. I'm going to Maryland next year." And then that was followed up by maybe that's because they stopped offering money. They actually got the number one quarterback prospect, Michigan, to
Sharon Moore's job.
Flip. Bryce Underwood, who had originally committed to LSU, flipped last night. Now is going to go to Michigan, and apparently it was an extraordinary NIL push.
If you think
in order to get him there,
that you're going to be, if you want to go to the NFL and you're a quarterback,
would you rather be at Michigan or LSU?
Obviously LSU.
Yeah.
The history. I mean, just the recent history.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you on that. But like, this is also if it's not working out at Michigan in 2 years, you can just go wherever you want after that. Like that's
fair.
Joe Burrow started at Ohio State. Like that's if there's an ungodly amount of money put in front of you, you take that ungodly amount of money and you say, we'll deal with this when we need to deal with
the situations in Michigan have been so poor at times. Like.
I can't
derail
help. The other part of this that I couldn't help but notice is that the night before, Biff Poggi said, "I'm going to go hang out this weekend at Michigan and try to help my friend Sharon Moore." And then all of a sudden, 24 hours later, the number one quarterback, like someone with generational wealth, lost his job this week. Tweeted out, "I'm going to hang out with Sharon Moore at Michigan."
Is that what he tweeted?
Go read Biff Poggi's tweet. And that's not verbatim, but I'm going to spend the weekend with my old friend Sharon Moore or something like that. That's exactly what he tweeted. So I think what Biff Poggi was fired on Monday, then showed back up at Charlotte practice on Tuesday, which was kind of weird.
Dog.
I don't know.
I didn't even hear this. Poggi was let go.
Yeah, Poggi was fired. Then he showed back up at practice the next day, I guess to say goodbye, but it was apparently like an awkward thing where like maybe they didn't
lock him out of the building.
Yeah, they didn't, and they might not have known that he had planned to do it. Like, I think it might have been a bit more uncomfortable than what was being portrayed by the internet as like, oh, look at how much this guy loves the kids. I think it might have been a bit more awkward than that. And then do you have it?
Yeah, he said, "Love my players at Charlotte. Love my coaches and staff at Charlotte. Love the students at Charlotte. I will be spending Friday and Saturday with my old friend, Coach Sharon Moore."
So really,
#go blue.
Really interesting. And what day was it that he sent that tweet?
That was the 20th. So that was Wednesday. That was Wednesday at noon.
Then
was that that right after it was announced?
Then
So he's back to Michigan.
We don't know. Like, there's no capacity, and that's the thing. If he had taken a job, then he couldn't be involved in NIL.
I love this.
But because he's just going to hang out or just going to do whatever.
Right.
I don't know that he's the one that threw the money at Bryce Underwood in order to fit, but we know that he has the money, and if he's planning on being involved with Michigan again in the future, it would sure make some sense for him to say, you're trying to look. There was some hope from Maryland fans that maybe Biff would be turned off by the situation at Michigan with Jim Harbaugh gone,
right?
And would say, "Hey,
I'm gonna start helping Maryland.
I can start helping Maryland." And some of his former, like Mike Miller, is on the Maryland. Some people that he's connected with are on the Maryland staff. So there was some hope from Maryland people that, like, when Biff Poggi got fired, maybe he would say, "All right, I'll come try to sprinkle some Biff Poggi fairy dust at Maryland instead of going back to Michigan." But not 24 hours later, he tweets, "I'm going to go hang out at Michigan," which makes you think that probably becomes basically him moving back into the role that he had previously under Jim Harbaugh, but doing it for Sharon Moore.
So this season at Maryland, is he just going to play out the string with Billy Edwards? He's not going to play any of the young quarterbacks?
MJ Morris.
Yeah, MJ Morris got a few snaps on Saturday.
Yeah.
I
think
saw that.
the issue would do it, like, they could do that, but the quarterback next year is going to be Malik Washington.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is, like, what are you doing that for?
Okay.
Like, you'd almost be creating bigger problems if, like, let's say you play Cam Edge.
So the guy that they brought in from NC State was nobody. He was basically
in the end,
a nobody.
it basically becomes a wash,
Yeah.
right? That's what it ends up being.
Now
Now,
end up at Towson.
does he have more eligibility? I don't know if he has more eligibility.
I think he's still got eligibility.
I have no idea.
like
I never.
feels
Well,
like
actually,
everyone
and
does,
if he didn't get into any games this year, he could probably get another redshirt year.
Well, he got into the game. Wasn't that him that played a couple snaps?
He definitely played on Saturday, but I don't remember how many other games he got into.
He's listed as a redshirt sophomore this season.
Oh,
sorry, no, I'm looking at the wrong. I was looking at Cam Edge. Hold on. Wait, is that what we're talking about? We're talking about
No,
Morris.
I was talking about MJ Morris.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, MJ Morris came from NC State. Cam Edge definitely has eligibility for sure. I don't remember where MJ Morris was because he left NC.
Entering this season, they said he had 3 years, so apparently he's got 2 years left.
Yeah, well, remember he left early last year from NC State to avoid like whatever the number is, and is it 4 games? Is that what the number is?
Okay, he's also listed as a redshirt sophomore. So yeah, I think 4 games is right.
Well, and so has he been in 4 games this year?
Let's find out.
Although,
no.
is it that you have to play in 4 games, or
he has appeared in 5 games?
And I think you have to. It might be that you just have to be on the team for 4 games, even if you don't. I don't remember. I I'm sorry. I don't remember. But yes, whatever. He's still got eligibility, so he could end up. Sure, he could be in the mix somewhere like that next season.
That'd be fun. We'll take him.
But Malik Washington will be Maryland's quarterback. He is not coming to Maryland.
Malik Washington's coming to Towson?
No, I don't think that's going to be the case. They didn't land that quarterback to say, you got to go win the job. Like, that might be what Mike Locksley says during – I can't wait for spring camp when he says, well, we're having a competition.
Right, an open competition.
Let's make it abundantly clear. When you land that quarterback, it's because it's very clear you're the guy on day one.
Let me ask you a question. Does Daniel Jones have any eligibility
left? I don't think
left?
that's going to be an option.
No.
Don't think that's going to be the
He'd be
the choice
terrific
for
at Maryland if he had one
Mm.
more year left.
I'm still not even sure of that. I got to be honest with you, Stan.
I think he'd win 6 games.
Tidbit is brought to you by Live Casino. Griffin, what's going on at Live Casino?
You're getting $7 in free slot play every time that Baltimore's football team or Washington's football team scores a touchdown during home games this season. Live Rewards members who have their Live Rewards card inserted correctly into the slot machine.
Got to do it correctly.
Exactly. Thank you, Stan. $7 in free slot play for those touchdowns. You have to be actively playing in order to get your prize, but once those touchdowns score during home games, $7 in free slot play. Admiral Mills must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And I'm flipping the script on you. I'm giving you the tidbit today.
All right.
From Mark Feinsand of MLB Network. Paul Skeens received an 8th place vote in NL MVP voting, meaning he got votes for Rookie of the Year, which, of course, do you have the list?
Yeah,
you got it. You son of a bitch. He got votes for Rookie of the Year, which he won. Cy Young, where he finished 3rd, and MVP, where he finished in a tie for 19th. He asked Sarah Langs, and Sarah Langs found out that he becomes the 11th player ever to receive votes for Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, and MVP all in the same season.
Wow.
I'll try to help you get there. Can you name previous 10? 10 players
Wait a minute.
receive votes.
So now you're asking the tidbit
I'm
questions?
asking the tidbit question, yes. But I don't know. Griffin might have.
Yeah. Well, I clicked out of it. I didn't memorize
Freddie
the whole
Lynn?
list.
No, it's got to be a pitcher.
Oh, a
Cy Young.
pitcher. I thought you just said
you have to receive votes for all three.
Vida
so-
Blue.
Not Vida Blue, no.
Sandy Koufax.
Not Sandy Koufax.
Steve Carlton.
Not Steve Carlton.
I'm not doing very
Not
well.
not very well. Actually, he became the 10th. So it's 10 total. 10 total.
10 total.
The most recent had been, doesn't count because it happened in 2020.
Dave Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
Dave
That's
Stewart.
a weird name. Yeah. Well, I mean, because I remember, I like
Go
glanced
ahead,
at the
just
list.
say it then.
Devin Williams was
Devin
2020.
Williams was 2020.
Um,
Before that, 2011 was the previous time that it had happened, that someone received votes for Rookie of the Year, MVP,
Rookie of the Year. Rookie of the Year.
and Cy Young.
That wasn't was that
2011.
Verlander's?
Was not Verlander. But
He's on
Verlander
the
was
list.
in 2006,
Okay.
yes. Verlander is in 2006.
Oh, that's right. 11 was Craig Kimbrell.
Craig Kimbrell in 2011. That is correct. 2001. 2000. Oh, you know what? There are two other former Orioles on this list. Two other. One who
other?
had
I
this
remember the
happen
one.
as an Oriole.
That would be
As an Oriole. Give Stan a
okay,
chance
I'll
on
give
that
Stan a
one. As an Oriole, one Rookie of the Year.
Right.
Receive votes for Cy Young and MVP.
Wally Bunker.
Not Wally Bunker. One Rookie of the Year received votes for Cy Young and MVP
Mike
in
Mussina.
in 1989.
1989.
Friend of the program. Friend of the program.
Not Ross Grimsley.
Certainly not Ross Grimsley. 1989 Rookie of the Year in the American League.
A friend of the program.
Friend of the program.
He was a pitcher in 1989.
He was a pitcher in 1989. Rookie of the Year.
You'll see him on broadcast.
Every now and then he pops back up here in Baltimore.
Oh, Greg Olson.
Greg Olson, of course. Greg Olson is exactly.
I was thinking
the
it
name.
was a starting pitcher. I'm sorry.
Another former Oriole, but not known for his time in Baltimore. Although you were raving recently about how good he still was as a Baltimore Oriole, Stan.
I was raving recently about him.
When he arrived in Baltimore late in his career, it's easy to forget.
Fernando Valenzuela.
Fernando Valenzuela, of course, in 1981. In 2001, this person did it
2001?
2001. Someone won Rookie of the Year and also got votes for both Cy Young and MVP. He was at the time a Houston Astro.
Oh, I remember now. Yeah.
2001.
2001 Houston Astro.
Rookie of the Year. Roy Oswalt.
Roy
Yeah,
Oswalt.
well done,
Very
Stan.
well done. Very well done. 1976, I learned earlier this week that Griffin does not know who this person is.
Yeah, I heard that.
Learned
I know him
earlier
now.
this
Did he
week.
guffaw? Did he guffaw when he...
It was bad. It was bad. One of the more colorful characters. Had a brief run. 1976.
Starting pitcher?
Starting pitcher.
He was a colorful character.
Colorful
And
character.
he was a Philly?
No, he was a Detroit Tiger.
Oh, he was Mark Fidrich.
Mark the Bird Fidrich. Thank you very much. Yes, Griffin was struggling with. Is it Fidrick? Is it? It was a struggle for
You
him.
know how he died?
How did he die?
He died. He got crushed by a car that he was working on. It collapsed on him.
God.
It's awful. It's truly awful. Not at all cheeky.
It's not one of my favorite ways
Not
to
at
go.
all
Colorful
cheeky.
guy.
And in 1970, a Montreal Expo.
I remember this one because I had no clue who he was.
This one is a blank spot for me. 1970 Montreal Expo.
1970
Yes.
Montreal Expo.
Oh, there's another one on the list that I forgot about. 1970 Montreal Expo. I'll just give you this one. Carl Morton.
I thought it said Charlie Morton at first. I was like, Charlie Morton? Oh, Carl Morton.
1980.
It's his son. It's his dad. Charlie Morton's dad.
1984. Again, one of the more prominent figures.
Dwight Gooden.
That's exactly correct. Doc
Good job,
Gooden.
Stan.
1984. That is the list. There was one other one that I saw that I liked from Sarah Langs. It should be fairly obvious. I would like to think that we'll get this one quickly. Shohei Ohtani, just the second player to win MVP in both leagues. The first one obviously being Stan.
Go ahead. Give me through.
MVP in both leagues. The first one was
Frank Robinson.
Obviously Frank Robinson. Obviously the case. What stupid thing did you have?
Well, I had that one. I was gonna do Shohei became the 11th. I mean, now we don't need to do all 11, but the 11th player to win 3 MVPs.
At 3 or more MVPs.
Correct.
So Bonds.
Barry Bonds has the most ever, 7 MVP awards for Barry Bonds, and then there are 10 other guys tied with 3.
Was he good, Bonds?
According to this list, for like at least 7 seasons.
Yeah,
but
he was pretty good.
It's close. The other one's probably not.
And now, what's the question? How many?
Who else has won 3?
3.
So Trout, right?
Trout has won 3.
Trout has won.
When did they start giving away MVPs? Like, how far back do we go?
1931, I believe.
Oh, my. Oh, so this could basically be anybody. Christ.
Could be.
Christ. We could be.
Could be.
I mean, because it could be anybody.
Could be. Goddamn it, Ted Williams.
No, not.
Well, he stinks. That was a terrible guess. Hank Aaron.
Damn it. No, Henry.
What
Aaron,
the hell is
not on
Willie
the
Mays?
list. No, Willie didn't do it.
Yogi Berra won 2.
Yogi Berra won 3, actually.
Oh, he did win 3.
Yogi. Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle won 3.
Yeah, that's what I was.
This is coming back. We're back.
And this is MVPs.
MVP.
And how many
Albert
we-
Pujols.
Yeah, either league. Yes, Albert Pujols has won thrice.
How about Stan Musial?
Stan Musial has won thrice.
Killing it over here. Killing it.
Stan the Man Unusual.
How about? I'm struggling now. I'm back to the struggle bus. P. Rose.
No, not Pete Rose. Stan doesn't like that guess.
Mike Schmidt.
Mike Schmidt has won 3.
Jack Schmidt. How about?
How many more do we have? How many more do we have?
We have 4, I think.
4?
Yeah.
God.
1, 2, 3.
Ken Griffey Jr.
4. Yeah, 4. No King.
A-Rod.
A-Rod, yes, thrice.
A-Rod won 3.
A-Rod won 3.
They usually gave them to the good guys.
Yeah.
It's the.
We have a Brooklyn Dodger.
Brooklyn Dodger. Jackie Robinson.
Not Jackie.
Gil Hodges.
Not Gil Hodges.
Duke Snyder.
Did play with Get Jackie, though.
Roy Campanella.
Roy Campanella won 3. And we have...
How about Manny Ramirez?
Ooh, that's
no,
good.
not Manny Ramirez.
Okay, it's not good. That was terrible. What a dumb guess.
Let me hear the guffaw.
Miguel Cabrera.
No, not Miggy. He won 2, though.
Yaz.
Not Yaz.
Did we say Jolton Joe DiMaggio?
You did not say Joe DiMaggio. He has won 3.
All right.
One more.
This
This is the guy that creates most lists.
He's what?
He's the guy that creates these, like the first guy on all these lists. He was a Philadelphia Athletic.
Jimmy Fox.
Jimmy Fox has won 3 MVP. Shohei Ohtani joins that company.
list. Very well done.
Okay for him, I guess.
Yeah, not bad. Not a bad group. All right, very good. Let's get a tidbit. Or let's get tubular, I mean.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here's what's coming up this weekend, totally tubular-wise. Tonight, Morgan State hoops in action against Buffalo, 7 o'clock on ESPN+. Everything else tonight, you can go to glennclarkradio.com. There's college basketball all weekend because there's tournaments going on, and we'll try to update it as much as possible. Yeah, that's next week. It gets really crazy with like the Maui and all those events, but there's still more going
until
on.
like 2 a.m. every night.
Yep,
It's the best.
Actually, I think one of these nights, North Carolina, North Carolina, Hawaii tonight at 12:30 a.m. on ESPN2. Duke, Arizona is tonight as well at 10:30. Although both those teams lost last week, so
they're not even good.
Forget them. Forget them. Tomorrow, Iowa, Maryland at noon. Don't forget, if you're going, please bring canned goods to donate to A.J. Francis, his canned good drive for Sarah's house. If you can't make it, Glenn-Clark on Venmo, and I will make sure that we get some more for A.J.'s drive. But that's noon on Big Ten Network. Towson wraps up the season tomorrow at Campbell, 2 o'clock on Flow Sports. Morgan wraps up their regular season against Howard, or their season tomorrow against Howard, 1 o'clock on ESPN+. Hoops tomorrow, UMBC hosts BU at noon. That's on ESPN+. And Mount St. Mary's is home tomorrow at 4 against Delaware State on ESPN+. Johns Hopkins football in the NCAA tournament. They play Grove City in the first round tomorrow at noon at Homewood Field. It's on CentennialConference.tv. Stevenson's in a bowl game. They take on SUNY Morrisville tomorrow at noon. You can watch it at Boxcast.tv. The big one tomorrow.
Mustangs.
Yeah, Mustangs. That's correct.
Mustangs.
How much do you know? You knew that SUNY Morrisville was the Mustangs?
I can't tell you Grove City. I'm not going to do that.
By the way, did you tell Griffin that I tried to get him his picture
wanted to get Griffin in our best of issue?
Thanks,
for the Whip Snakes chant, but
the Whip Snakes.
We overruled. We said
Welcome to
probably
Snake
going to
Pit.
go a different route. Probably going to go.
Hold on 1 second. Let me get a picture of you doing it.
Yeah,
hold on. It might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. This is the big moment. Yeah.
Get a little more anger.
Yeah.
There
we
go.
go. I still don't.
I'm gonna send this to Luke.
No, I hear you. I still think it's probably going to miss the cut, but I appreciate the effort that you're putting in. That's your champion right there. That's Stan the Fan. Big college football games tomorrow. Indiana, Ohio State at noon on
That's
Fox.
not a big one. Is that a big game?
I think
Ohio State's going to win.
I think this is cover material.
I don't know about that.
Cover
right,
material.
Yeah, that would be bold.
Yeah,
that would be bold.
That comes with
no. With Tommy DeVito's agent? Yes. You can get, that's what you can get. Indiana, Ohio State, noon, Fox tomorrow. And then the other big one, Army Notre Dame, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on NBC. Everything else, go to glennclarkradio.com. On Sunday, Maryland, Villanova, 1 o'clock on ESPN from Newark, New Jersey. Towson, Morgan, Sunday at 4 over at Hill Fieldhouse. The Maryland women host St. Francis, PA, Sunday at 1 on ESPN+. And Maryland soccer, they fell behind last night in the NCAA tournament. They were down 2-1 in the second half. It was looking hairy. Then they scored 3 straight goals to beat Long Island. They go to Wake Forest on Sunday at 6 on ESPN+. Local TV NFL games on Sunday. Fox has Cowboys Commanders at 1, 49ers Packers at 4:25, CBS Chiefs Panthers at 1, and NBC for Eagles Rams at 8:20.
And what about Maryland Villanova?
I said that. Yeah, Sunday 1 o'clock on ESPN from Newark.
On ESPN.
Yeah, exactly right. All right, sir. What's going on non-sports-wise?
Not a whole lot. We got a new episode of Silo on Apple TV today. Also, a movie, a World War II movie called Blitz. It's about like a boy who gets separated from his mother, and it looks pretty good. If anyone is into that, that's on Apple TV as well. Jim Gaffigan has a special on Hulu. And then it's not a whole lot. And then Sunday night you'll have Dune Prophecy, Yellowstone, and Landman. New episodes of all of those on Sunday.
Sure you do. All right, very good. Thanks today to Stan at Stan the Fan is how you follow him on Twitter, and he'll have another week off. Then he'll be back in action the following week at Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Thanks to Matt Skura. Thanks to Bo. Thanks to Wally Williams. We'll get all that up in the greatest hits section of the
Here we go.
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. We'll be back on Monday. No idea. Stuff and things. That's what we got for you. As we'll get to final. Monday night games suck for what we do. Really just not beneficial for what we do. But we'll get you ready for Ravens Chargers. And then, of course, game day on Monday night. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Visit Hartford, Live Casino and Hotel, Cruise Maryland, Ed Block Courage Awards, Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, Royal Farms, Green Turtle Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Costas Inn, MSAA, Maryland Sports, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin, at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great weekend. Go local football, go local hoops. Duke sucks. Give him one more. Why not? You got the hat on.
Go Whip Snakes.
Have a great weekend.